these attempts by Pakistan? Akash.
So multiple attacks have been happening even now. It is on, and we have been learning about these projectiles coming to different places in Jammu, and in fact till Pathankot. Manoj Gupta is also reporting that from Pathankot to Aknoor we are receiving these attacks, possibly some rockets or missiles. But agencies and in fact sources within the Defence Ministry are telling us that they have intercepted several drones and missiles, and in fact S-400 and Akash is intercepting these threats. What we have been given to understand that at this point in time they are using AD guns, and AD guns have in fact targeted these drones, Rahul. But the condition is still volatile. In fact, we are learning that the operation is still on because forces are very much there. In fact, ceasefire violation is simultaneously happening. They have targeted the highway as well. In fact, there is a bombarding at the highway, what I'm learning. And also, at this point in time, we are seeing attacks at multiple places, Rahul. So agencies are very much there. They are, in fact, air defense systems are very much active, but we still don't know because it is still on, Rahul.
Absolutely still on. This is a developing story, viewers. So as of now, we've been able to establish dominance as we did last night. Now, there is a pattern here. It's a consistent pattern. Pakistan is resorting to unprovoked targeting of India's military targets. Very, very important, viewers. India's military assets are being targeted by Pakistan. This is a vital escalation because remember, India never did so. India only targeted Pakistan's terror infrastructure. Pakistan is responding as if it has lost a limb in battle. It is responding by hitting our army, our military, our various other civilian targets also. Last night, it tried to even hit Amritsar's Golden Temple. That's what we are being heard. Large number of gurdwaras have been knocked to the ground. So Pakistan is completely besides itself in desperation, viewers, and is trying to do everything. And I believe that Pakistan has shot itself in the foot and it has sown the seeds of its own defeat. It's fighting a losing battle. Drunk on arrogance, General Munir has made the greatest mistake. Munir has made the mistake of provoking the Leviathan that is India. We can see the provocations night after night. Why am I saying this? Why am I saying that Munir is losing the plot and perhaps even this escalation? Because for the second consecutive day, Pakistan has lost the fight to India. The defeats have been so comprehensive and morale sapping that Pakistan has virtually allowed India to establish dominance early in the contest. If we are going to be able to, viewers, knock out everything they throw at us, it is going to be problematic. And if we can get around their systems, that is going to be problematic for them, even more so. If on Wednesday, in the darkest hours of the night, India struck at will in Pakistan and POK, made Jaish terrorist Masood Azhar cry and other elements bury their loved ones, jolted Pakistan in the ways that it never imagined, then last night India did it again. Pakistan did the unthinkable and the indefensible. In a moment of madness, it decided to target our air bases and our radar systems across 15 cities, stretching down to Bhuj in Gujarat. I'll show you all of that a little later, viewers. We are sticking with this developing story for a few minutes more because this pattern has been repeated now for the third night. So after the initial Sindoor, Operation Sindoor resulted in widespread destruction of terror bases in Pakistan, which was on the 7th of May. On the 8th, which was yesterday night, viewers, at well past midnight in the early hours of today, Pakistan again tried to attack several cities in India, 15 of them, as I told you, all the way down to Bhuj in Gujarat. And I'll show you that map in just a few seconds as we split our pictures between the map and this footage that is coming in. And it's doing it again. At about 8:30, it decided to target Jammu. And not just any spots in Jammu, but the air base in Jammu, viewers. It has also tried to hit at other towns and districts very close in the locality, and it has definitely tried to escalate this entire contest now, and it is assuming very quickly, viewers, very quickly, the guise now of an open conflict, an escalated open conflict. 8 missiles as of now have been shot down, no casualties. This is another big plus point. The S-400 missile system is doing its job. It is like an Iron Dome equivalent. But Pakistan's misadventures, viewers, have been thwarted all through. India deployed biggest weapons. I told you the S-400s brought down Pakistan's missiles and its drones with ease. It's happening again tonight. Pakistan forces were made to look weak and incompetent. Worse, after the mauling, India turned the tables. It launched Operation Sindoor Part 2. And this is the ongoing Operation Sindoor Part 2. In some of Pakistan's biggest cities, Lahore's air defense system was brought down with kamikaze drones, leaving the city totally vulnerable. Karachi and Rawalpindi was struck also. We're going to bring those visuals to you. We're going to split the screen because, viewers, we're going to keep showing you the live situation as it is developing in Jammu. Those are the pictures in the middle of your screens of the live situation in Jammu. Lots of bangs can be heard. You can hear them, and I want to bring back Tejinder if he's still there with us. Tejinder, what's the latest? And we'll also try to involve our guests in this conversation. But this is a serious escalation from Pakistan. This was happening all of last night. We just didn't know about it. It was happening along all those points. On the map, you can see them, viewers. On the right, in white are the areas that the Pakistanis targeted, and from right there up on top, Awantipura, all the way down Srinagar, Jammu, Pathankot, Amritsar, even in Punjab and beyond. In Rajasthan, you can see that three places in Rajasthan, and down there in Gujarat, in Bhuj. So the entire border, from the LOC to the international border, they were trying to attack us, and the S-400 missile system knocked these projectiles out of the sky. A lot of that debris fell in Punjab, in fields in Punjab, in other places it was completely vaporized. But moments after that, India went in, and we have traumatized Pakistan. Again, I'm going to show you that map because you will see the places that India struck. So we struck proportionately, targeting their military infrastructure, and you can see Muzaffarabad, you can see Kotli, you can see Gulpur. Those are all, of course, what we had struck yesterday. But down there, viewers, and we're going to show you the next map, which will give you the areas where India struck in Pakistan. So we'll update that, but I'll just bring that out for you. About 9 spots, including Lahore, including Karachi, including, most importantly, once again, Bahawalpur, Lahore, Rawalpindi. We nailed them left, right, and center. Do we have an updated map? That would be great to just show our viewers the spread of how we targeted the cities in Pakistan. So we're going to try and bring that to you. But in the middle, viewers, this live situation, I just want to quickly bring in General Pandey also. General Pandey, the situation in Jammu, how do you see this unfolding? Why has this happened? General Bakshi also here with us. General Pandey, what is happening here exactly?
Yeah, so this is scaling up actually. The restriction was to a little lower level of firing across the LC generally in the Kashmir region, thereafter in Jammu region. But this has taken a level up in which a very targeted attack has been carried out on the Jammu airport, and what I am told is they have tried to apply loitering munitions on the Jammu airport. And what I can see and understand is that it is a mix of munitions being applied, starting from artillery to drones and to missiles. While for the artillery shells, the protection will not be that much, but for the missiles and for drones, there are adequate measures available with the Indian Armed Forces to ensure and thwart the system. I'm given to understand that in the Jammu region, there's a blackout which is already on, and people are getting into protected space. As of now, nothing much has happened. But even if they are able to strike the bases at Jammu and Adampur, I can only assure you that there are systems in place to recover and come back within no time to carry out operations.
Which is what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is what happened yesterday. General Bakshi, that happened yesterday. General Bakshi, what we're seeing is, of course, the latest. This is happening at a time when we're all still awake. Last night, it happened much after midnight, if you remember. and a large number of Indian cities were targeted, 15 on them, but we thwarted every Pakistan attempt, and that's exactly what's happening here this evening. So Pakistan quite desperate. Just talk us through why you believe that this is a great miscalculation by Pakistan.
Exactly. Rahul, we were discussing precisely this yesterday. Step 1 on the escalation ladder, Pakistan hits at Pahalgam. Step 2 on the escalation ladder, India retaliates with Operation Sindoor 1, right? We hit 7 terror camps, 5 in POK, 4 in Punjab proper, including Bhavalpur and Muridke, headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, also the HM headquarters, right? Last night, past midnight, Pakistan retaliates in a significant manner by aiming at 15 military targets over a 2,000-kilometer front. He uses missiles, drones and rockets, a combination of these, exactly as per the matrix of options we had war-gamed yesterday, right? The good news is that India has one of the very good air defense systems in the world, possibly after America, Russia, Israel. We are at almost number 4. It is a layered air defense. We have the S-400s, which have a radar that can see up to 600 kilometers, engage from 40 kilometers onwards. It can take on missiles, it can take on jet fighters, drones, helicopters, the works, right?
Yes.
We have also the Akash missiles, the MR SAMs, the V-Shorats, the whole panoply of layered missile defenses backed up by the guns. The interception rate in Ukraine has been about 70% for the air defense. The Russians have achieved rates of 80 to 85%. The Israelis achieved an interception rate of 98 to 99%. Yesterday we did one better. We achieved 100%. Not one missile got through. It is something to be proud of. Not one missile got through.
Absolutely.
Over Amritsar, we had 2 debris of the missiles. I think most probably they were P-15s fired by the JF-17s, possibly in panic, seeing our fighters on their radars. But we have recovered one full 7-foot long missile and one which has gone into the ground. Many more debris would be over Pakistan because we would have intercepted them with the S-400s long range, well inside Pakistani territory. So I think full marks to India. But Rahul,
yes,
just because you had a good air defense system, you cannot minimize the gravity of what has happened.
Yes.
Pakistan has hit back. There are no terror targets in India. We hit only the terror targets. We offered Pakistan an off-ramp. Look, we only hit your terror target, so we're going to leave it at that if you back off. Pakistan has responded. Mullah Munir has responded by unleashing an across-the-board response. 15 military targets addressed, right? You can't take it lying down. And now they are attacking the Jammu air base.
Yes.
They are attacking around Awantipura, the traditional place where the Pakistanis choose to strike first is the Chamjaudiya area. 65 they hit there first, 71 they hit there first, right? The second favorite area is Rajouri Punch up there. So, look, Rahul, I have a very serious entreaty.
Okay.
We are being told it is a totally civilian controlled operation. The foreign secretary is briefing with the 2 girls around him who get in a sentence each, right? May I now make a humble request? We are heading to a limited / a full-scale war. Kindly hand it over, delegate to the military professionals. If you are trying to look holier than thou.
Well, okay,
very good.
That's
We
a
didn't
separate
escalate,
issue.
they did.
I agree with
That's
you.
good.
That's a separate issue.
That's good. No.
Yeah. That's a
That-
side. Okay.
No, why I'm saying this? If you just
Yeah.
give me half a second.
Yeah, of course.
Half a second.
Yeah,
half
of
a
course,
second.
of course.
What I'm trying to say is,
Yeah.
now this is getting on to full-scale war, full-on conflict. Let the military professionals handle it.
Okay.
You know, because this half civilian, half military approach can lead to some gaps.
Okay, so
Right?
you're
Let
saying,
them handle it. Let
and
the
I want to bring
professionals deal
in,
with it.
I want to bring in also General Dhillon. Stay on with me, General Bakshi. General Pandey also here. Are we now seeing this turning into an inevitable conflict? Are we now in that stage? I just want to update our viewers. Adampur, Jammu, Akhnur, Pathankot, all of them were today stressed at about 8:30 by artillery and drone attacks from across the border. No casualties. 8 missiles were shot down by India in Jammu. 8 missiles were shot down, resulting in 0 casualties. And I want to stress that, viewers, just like yesterday when 15 Indian cities were targeted, there were 0 casualties. All the incoming were strafed into oblivion by the S-400 missile system. We are being told that the Satwari station, perhaps in Adampur also, there was an attempt or two. That's also been thwarted. All these attacks were thwarted. Reports, viewers, that in Barmer and in Null, Rajasthan, things are happening, have been shot down. The government there, as well as the PIB, etc., and the Barmer district collector and magistrate have all come out and said that's fake news, don't fall for it. We are also being told, and this is very, very important, that Poonch and Tangdar firing is happening at the IB there also. So the entire IB in that area is hot. The line of control is hot. It's hot right now. Pakistan is desperately trying. General Dhillon, we are not surprised. But are we seeing, and before I bring you in, General Dhillon, I just want you also, viewers, to pay attention to something that is monumental that is happening on the ground in Pakistan. I showed you pictures from Lahore, and we're going to put those pictures back. All the Pak projectiles intercepted. That's the picture from Lahore. Explosions near the Lahore airport. Explosions, Indian drone attacks have disabled the defense, the aerial defense of Lahore. It is a sitting duck right now. It is very vulnerable. And guess what, viewers? Members of parliament in Pakistan are tearing up. And on the street, bloggers are asking their government, "Aap kar kya rahe ho?" India is walking in. They did it yesterday, they did it today, and you can't even upset a hair on their head. Listen to some of these reactions. One is this minister who is crying, saying that, "God, please help us, we have taken on too much." And another one who's abusing the military. Listen to this, viewers, and then I want to bring in General Dhillon.
दुनिया में जहां भी देखें शायद हमारी कमी है, हम मजबूर हैं, हम गुनाहगार हैं, लेकिन रब्बे काबा हम तेरे हबीब के उम्मती हैं, खुदा का वास्ता हमसे रहम का भला फरमा। आप चले जाएं, उधर फिलिस्तीन भी चले जाएं, कश्मीर में चले जाएं, जहां भी जाएंगे मुसलमानों के साथ वो ऐसे रो रहा है जो हम सोच भी नहीं सकते हैं। तो तू हमें माफ कर दे, हम तेरे आगे सर झुकाते हैं, माफी मांगते हैं। नहीं, इसमें दो राय नहीं है मौला कि हम बड़े गुनाहगार हैं, लेकिन तेरी रहमत बहुत वसी है। तू रहमत का एक जर्रा भी भेजेगा हमारी तरफ तो इंशाल्लाह हमारी कामयाबी होगी। और दुआ करते हैं रब्बे काबा कि इस मुल्क की हिफाजत फरमा और हमें दुश्मनों पर जो है वो फकीर अता फरमा और हमें उनको सरनगू करने की ताकत अता फरमा। मैं दुआ गो हूँ आर्म फोर्सेस के लिए, पाकिस्तानियों के लिए, कि अल्लाह पाक हम सब की हिफाजत फरमाए।
कल रात इंडिया ने पाकिस्तान के ऊपर 24 मिसाइल हमले किए और हैरानगी की बात यह है कि तकरीबन सारे मिसाइल अपने टारगेट के ऊपर जाके लगे। इंडिया ने जो टारगेट सेट किया हुआ था, इंडिया ने वो टारगेट अचीव किया। और इससे बढ़ के हैरानगी की बात यह है कि पाकिस्तान का दिफाई निजाम, हमारा डिफेंस सिस्टम एक भी मिसाइल को इंटरसेप्ट नहीं कर सका, एक भी मिसाइल को हम रोक नहीं सके। सारे हमले हम रोकने में नाकाम रहे। एग्जैक्ट जो इंडिया ने टारगेट अचीव करना था वो अचीव किया है। वो जो कहते हैं ना कि इंडिया ने घुस के मारना था, इंडिया ने वाकई घुस के मारा और हम उसके मिसाइलों को रोक नहीं सके। ये हकीकत है। अब इसको आप ये मत कहें कि जी आप इंडिया की तारीफ कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं। भाई जो हकीकत है वो हकीकत है।
Okay, viewers, big updates coming in before I bring in General Dhillon. I just want to very quickly update you all on the evolving situation. 3 Pakistan drones have been shot down at the back gate of Jammu University, the Bawa tea store, which is a landmark there. Air raid sirens are blaring through the city of Jammu. Attack launched on Pathankot, Adampur, Kathua, Samba and Kaluchak. All 5 areas the attack has been launched. You can hear the strafing, the sounds of munitions going off. India is rebuffing and thwarting just about every one of these attacks. We're also being told that Uri and Kupwara, where there is CFV or violations of the ceasefire, there is also news, viewers, that Pakistan might have suffered a big loss. I'll come to that after it's confirmed. I'm going to keep you hanging a little bit because I don't want to get ahead of the situation and spread fake news. But we are being told there's a big loss on the cards for Pakistan. Something might have happened that could now lead to a complete meltdown in Pakistan, mentally and compounded. Let's go across to Akash. Akash, what are we being told? What are we being told? That there are some attacks now happening pretty much along the IB also. There is talk that Jaisalmer, there is a blackout there, red flares have been seen in the sky there. We are being told that Pakistan might have suffered a big loss. I'm not going to confirm that or deny that right now because we are ascertaining this. But Akash, what can you tell us? It's an evolving situation. General Dhillon is also here with us. Yes, Akash.
So I'm, in fact, confirming that big loss that you are talking about, Rahul. But yes, there are attacks in multiple cities. Jaisalmer is confirmed. In fact, Arunima is reporting that how Jaisalmer, is also receiving these drones and possibly the RT fire as well. In Jammu, we are seeing these attacks. However, our air defense system is very much active. And now, this ceasefire violation has also started, both at LC and also, at the international border. In Rajouri and Poonch, firing is there. In Kupwara also, we are seeing artillery fire. So, Pakistan, on one hand, is violating the ceasefire. On the other hand, it is sending drones and, missiles to different cities. But then, air defense system is very much active and is thwarting all these attempts. Also, we are learning about one Pakistani jet down, but I'm still confirming that sort of peace. But heavy, firing is going on at the LC right now, Rahul. And Indian defense forces are very much there with their air defenses. In fact, air defense guns are used. And in fact, I'm learning that army is retaliating at the LC as well.
Okay, army is retaliating at the LC. Let me go across to General Dhillon. He served there just like General Bakshi, General Pandey. All of them have really done an exceptional job at protecting Indians and the country. So they know like this area like the back of their hand. General Dhillon, please weigh in on this. What are we seeing? Are we seeing now an escalation that is going to lead at some level or the other to perhaps a conflict breaking out which might go on for a few more days? What is happening? Give us, if you were analyzing this from the Pakistani side, what is happening? We are seeing the losses there, but what is happening exactly? What are they trying to do here?
Rahul, it started with LC ceasefire violations. Then it came down to Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. They were firing onto one side of POJK in Poonch, Rajouri, and even then it graduated to Jammu. Then it came down to Kathua, Srinagar area. And now, as per the report which you just shared with us, it has gone as far down as Jaisalmer. Now, this is the initiation of war. When you violate the IP at so many places, it's a clear-cut case of initiation of war by Pakistan. But for India, as was told by the Foreign Secretary in the briefing today, we are still committed to not hitting the military installation and civilian population. Whatever we are doing in self-defense. We are only intercepting the missiles and we are nullifying their air defense system. And like you just gave out certain bites from Pakistan, Lahore air defense is now completely gone. Now this is where people of Lahore must go to Lahore cantonment and see the senior officers' families fleeing from there. Now this is how the Punjab has been left without any cover. ये जो पंजाब के पाकिस्तानी पंजाब के जो लोग हैं उनको ये बात समझने की जरूरत है कि 75 साल से उनकी फौज उनको ये भरोसा देती रही है कि हम आपके पीछे खड़े हैं और अभी 24 घंटे नहीं हुए कि लाहौर का पूरा एयर डिफेंस खत्म हो चुका है। अगर ये इनकी काबिलियत है तो इसीलिए अभी ये इसको कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को एक्सपैंड करना चाहते हैं। They're wanting to expand it to as far as Jaisalmer and coming down to their age-old tactics of killing innocent civilians.
Right.
They did it in Pahalgam, they're doing it in Punch, they're doing it in Jammu, and they're doing it in other parts of India. But Indian missile system or Indian S-400 air defense system is potent enough to take on all their missiles. And as you are saying, certain confirmation about certain targets having been down, we'll wait for it. But at the moment, Pakistan has escalated to another level. He has escalated to another level where he has opened up front as far down as Jaisalmer.
Okay,
so
but
this is escalation ladder being attempted by Pakistan and India. When India retaliated to terror attacks by hitting the terror target, India had thought about all these escalations, all the contingencies, all the options. And India will give a very, very befitting reply to this.
okay, Sushant Sareen, he's joined us. Sushant Sareen, we've had a few reports coming in of panic now in Pakistan. We've seen it all through the day. The stock market collapsed there. The Karachi Stock Index, which is a complete indication of sentiment in Pakistan, collapsed to the point where circuit breakers had to be applied, trading had to be sort of stopped, halted. So I'm asking you, what is going on? Pakistan on one side looks as if they're ineffective right now. They're not being able to penetrate. On the other hand, they're also escalating.
Yeah, so look, I'll just add something to what General Dillon said. You know, they had declared war just yesterday. When it was not just till Jaisalmer, they attacked even till Bhuj. They tried to attack. Now, just because their attack was thwarted and we hit back, does not absolve the Pakistanis of what they tried to do. And because they had shit on their face, pardon my language, so they are trying to recover some ground. Because it's basically the regime survival which is at stake right now. It is Asim Munir's head which is on the line, as is Shahbaz Sharif's head. And they have to show something to the people so that they can survive. Because after India's retaliation in the morning today, it was very clear that the Pakistanis would do something. Now what they have done...
This is the deferred pictures coming out of Jaisalmer, Sushant Sareen. Have a look. This is the IB now. Yes.
Yeah, so even Bhuj was IB, everything is IB.
Yeah.
Amritsar is IB, Jalandhar is IB, Ludhiana is IB, right? So everything is the IB now. Now, my point is a very simple one. Now that the Pakistanis have tried to up the ante, and in the morning today, our retaliation was very, very proportionate. They tried to attack our defense installations, we attacked theirs, and we managed to be much more successful than what they were. But now that they've tried to up the ante, I think some of the restraints which have been put should be removed. I think now we should strike at major military installations, including their headquarters and their troops which might be amassed somewhere. If this is the game they want to play, then that is the retaliation that must come from the Indian side. And I think that should happen by tonight, if it's not already starting to happen. The second thing, and I must insist on this, and out here I disagree with General Bakshi. Look, I think what we are seeing right now is a perfect synchronization of civil and military.
Okay.
We cannot, in a country like India, we cannot say, okay, it's all to the generals, they can decide. Of course they will decide. The professional decisions will be taken by the generals. The civilians will go along with them. But I think the synchronization of civil and military, where the civil has to remain supreme in India. And because decisions of war and peace have to be made by the civilian authority, the military, being a disciplined force, is going to follow whatever orders are given by the civilian.
Okay.
I don't think in anybody's case that any civilian leader right now is trying to hold the hand of the army or trying to restrict it. I think it is perfect synchronization. So I don't have any problems with how we are approaching this.
Okay, but that's is that the primary question right now? I don't think so. General Bakshi, should we now start hitting wider, deeper military targets in Pakistan? Let's stick to the real issue here for the moment.
All right. Though I'd like to respond, but I'll give it a pass.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, Rahul, so far, step one of the escalation ladder, we hit the terror camps. And we told Pakistan that we are hitting only, and the world, that it is a non-escalatory response, that it is a proportionate response. We've hit only the terror camps. We gave Pakistan an off-ramp. You want to de-escalate here, we can leave it here. Pakistan has chosen to escalate militarily. The fact that you did not suffer damage is all thanks to your air defense command, right? Is all thanks to your air defenses that you haven't. But that does not minimize the significance of the step that Pakistan has taken up the escalation ladder. And tonight, he's crossing the IB, he's crossing the LC, he's trying to attack across the LC. He's been firing for days now, artillery fire, targeting your civilians, etc. The point that I'm trying to make is, now it is Pakistan which has given you the justification to go to level next and target military targets in Pakistan. You've already targeted their radars. They are a military target, Rahul. So you've already crossed the Rubicon. You've already crossed the Rubicon. Now, what was our original aim? The original aim was to impose deterrence in Pakistan. And Sushant will agree with me that by just killing a couple of 100 terrorists, that will not be served. The terrorists are expendable commodity in Pakistan. The real terror akas are the army, the ISI. This operation was planned by the India desk of the ISI, initially by a major working with Hafiz Saeed and that Kashmiri,
yes,
Salahuddin. Right?
Yeah.
Then they presented plans. I just finished. Then they presented plans to their brigadier in the ISI in that directorate, and then it was presented to the DG ISI, finally approved by General Asim Munir.
That's right.
After his Clash of Civilization speech, approved and then put into action in Pahalgam in a communal massacre. Unless we impose attrition and pain on the Pakistan military and ISI, you are not going to impose deterrence. Please follow your aim. Please follow your aim. If you want to deter, you will have to increase the punishment level.
So I think
now you have a free pass to increase that punishment level to the military.
Okay, I'll come back to all of you. I'll come back to all of you.
Deliberate manner.
I want to also bring in General Pandey and General Dhillon. That's a good point, General Bakshi. I think both you and Sushant Sareen are on the same page on that we have to go up the escalation ladder. General Dhillon is also there. I just want to quickly update our viewers. If you're tuning in right now, viewers, we're 9:30. And what we know is encouraging for now. Missiles from Pakistan directed at Satwari, Samba, Arispura and Arnia all intercepted, blocked by air defense units. So this is a big news. The S-400, the other units, the other missile systems that we have to try and knock out these projectiles coming are working very well, very optimally, General. There have been ceasefire violations at the LOC by Pakistan in the Karna sector of Jammu and Kashmir. Heavy artillery fire has been opened. Indian Army is also giving a very strong response. Now, we were told that we have knocked out a large number of their posts and there are fatalities at the LOC. I'm not sure how many, but that was something that we were given to believe earlier in the day. I can also tell you right now that Srinagar, there are projectiles that were spotted over Srinagar airport and Srinagar, and they have been intercepted. So as of now, we are being told, and this is at 9:30, about an hour since the first projectiles flew over Jammu, that there have been no casualties. So God's been kind, viewers. 8 missiles have been shot down and no casualties. This report was updated till about 10 minutes ago. These pictures that you're seeing on your screens are not live pictures, they're deferred visuals, viewers. We are playing it very, very cautious and safe. And General Pandey, I want to bring you in on this. We're talking now about a situation which has been developing for the last 24 hours, where Pakistan has decided that they're going to come after us. Civilian targets, everything is fair game. Civilian targets, fair game military targets. They're going to go after just about anything in India that moves from pretty much Akhnur all the way down to Bhuj. Is our response at this moment adequate in your mind? And I want to bring General Dhillon in also on that. General Pandey, first, very quickly, the systems that we are using, the S-400, give us a quick breakdown of that.
Okay, I'll
and
first...
then also the other question.
I need to cover up a couple of points here.
Okay.
Firstly, Pak terrorists were operating as proxies of Pak army.
Right.
Till the time we hit the terrorist camps inside.
Yeah.
Now, after having seen the visuals in which Pak army is giving a state honor
That's
to
true.
the terrorist leaders who are being buried and led, and very very strange that Pakistani senior officers are standing behind and there's some designated terrorist is leading the prayers for the burial part. The switch has now happened.
Yeah.
On behalf of the Pak terrorists who have been killed, today the Pakistani army is now working as a
Those are the
proxy.
pictures you're talking about. Look at that. Yeah.
So, the Pakistan army has become a proxy for Pakistani terrorists. So, that is a major switch which has taken, and we had given a hands to them that, okay, we have hit a terrorist camp and we'll rest the case here, and thereafter you need to walk the path of possibly peace. Don't scale it up.
Right.
So, having taken this action now and having been sorted out when they tried to strike back, and I totally agree with General Bakshi and Sushant Sareen that this level of in your face defeat when the missiles have been down, when they tried to attack 15 this was very much expected, because in the daytime we were able to breach all the systems and put out our loitering munitions and drones inside Pakistan at will. Actually, at 4 different places it was reported by their own media that we have been able to hit them at will. So this was quite expected to come about, and as our systems were in place, we have been able to handle the situation as of now. The next level, firstly, I will agree with General Bakshi, what he says that we need to hit back onto the military installations, because they have given us a reason, casus belli, to do so for these people. And I am sure we will see this coming out in the later part of the night, while the Pakistani military will be very ready to take on these things. But having breached the AD cover and all, I am quite sure we will be able to hit back. The other part which General Bakshi had brought out was very significant, that we need to, military should be handed the power.
Okay, Pakistan has accepted that 2 jets have been downed. 2 of their jets down, viewers. This is big news, down by air defense. India has struck. First blow. This is the first blood. Pakistan accepts that 2 jets down by the air defense systems of India. This is big news. This is big breaking news. We're going to try and get you more on this. Akash was hinting at that. I was telling you that there is big news that 2 jets are down by air defense of India, and the debris might be also on our side of the border. So we will have to check this. This is very big news, and Indian security forces must today congratulate themselves. The military must congratulate itself. I know it's very early and one should never ever tempt fate. Never ever tempt fate. This is serious business we are talking about, viewers. But this will have a blow on the psyche, would it not? This would have a blow on the psyche.
Yeah, it is going to totally affect the Pakistani public, because actually this entire operation is now being led by a very radical chief, that is Asim Munir, who is aligned his thought process with the terrorist radical ideology, and this attempt for them to actually gain some degree of traction and image building exercise which was being done through these attacks has totally been blunted and will take a major hit, and therefore possibly he will be pushed to a corner by his own system to respond to a different manner. I think it's a great success for our AD systems which has actually taken this thing down, and I must compliment really that in sync with the indigenous system which is called Akash and the S-400 which is the Russian system that it brought.
Yes.
These two have worked in sync to actually do the job.
Well, you know, I'm still not going to, look, till the Indian military doesn't confirm, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. So let's just park that thought. There are indications that something big has happened, but we're not going to jump to it. General also is with us. We're being told that General Dhillon is also still with us, and I'm going to bring him in now. General Dhillon, if you could very quickly sum up now what we are seeing on our screens. Sushant Sareen, I'll also bring you into this. What are we actually seeing here? Are we seeing an inevitable escalation of this into perhaps a wider conflict that is now going to engage different parts of the border? Is this going to be perhaps the new normal for the next few days? What is exactly now expected?
Rahul, as you have just confirmed, if Pakistani fighter jets have been shot down, that means use of manned aircrafts and crossing the international boundary with the manned aircrafts is definitely a declaration of war. Not that we had any doubt in when the missiles are crossing the international boundary, but this is a conventional way of looking at war. Manned aircrafts, fighter jets crossing the international boundary with an intent to damage
Well,
the
sir,
civilian or military installations.
let me just say that I'm not going to accept that till the Indian government confirms. The Pakistanis, you know how they are; they can say whatever they want to, and we don't even know who there is planting what news. So let's just keep that aside.
Okay, we'll leave that aside.
Yes, yeah.
We'll leave that aside.
Yeah.
The mere escalation, as Jal Bakshi has said and Jal Pandey has also clarified this, now it has gone to the next level. And there is no way that India should not retaliate now or should not take it to the next level, because now is the time when the war stamina petering out of Pakistan will come into play. Pakistan's economy dithering will come into play. Pakistan's stocks of major equipment going down will come into play. And as and when it happens, this is where the victory will be declared. So we should not hold our horses now. We must take it to the next level as a response to what Pakistan has done so far. He has crossed the limit and we should not. And now we know that his war fighting stamina is way below us. And we must capitalize on our strength, military strength, diplomatic, politically, economic strength, we all know. And we must hit targets in Punjab, because that is where it is going to hurt. Because for them, like Jal Pandey was saying, that terrorists are dispensable for them. I think for a Punjabi, Pakistani, Musliman dominated Pakistan army, even Sindhis and Baluchis and Pashtuns and Kashmiris and Baltis are also dispensable. So we must hit at the heart, and that is where the pinch will be felt.
So what we are now seeing, Sushant Sareen, is conflict by another name. We may not formally call it that, but we're in that zone now. Sushant Sareen, can you hear me? I think you're on mute, Sushant Sareen. You might be on mute. Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry because I was just doing I'm doing multitasking right now. So look, let's be very clear about one thing, Rahul. What the Pakistanis tried yesterday was to hit Indian military installations. Okay, that they failed is not an excuse. But our response was also to only target military installations. Now the Pakistanis are such bloody liars. This whole bloody community and this whole goddamn place is a bunch of liars. This whole country has come up because of a lie. So they claim that no, we didn't do anything. Because their attack failed, they claim we didn't do anything, right? That's what that ISPR fellow whose father was a great nuclear scientist trying to take out electricity out of jinns. That fellow's son is now their ISPR chief, and he's also a 3-star general. Look at the kind of guys they make 3-star generals. Anyways, but the point is that these fellows, they've lied. Okay, now we hit back. Our response was slightly proportionate in the sense because they didn't really cause any damage. But I think once they've gone up the ladder, I think our response has to be overwhelming now. Very clearly, right now from what we are hearing is that only the area around Jammu is being targeted, Akhnur, Jammu, that belt. There is some reports that maybe Pathankot has also been, they tried to target Pathankot, or at least there's been they've tried to activate the terrorists in Pathankot and other parts. There are some reports, none of these are confirmed. Anyways, I think we'll take care of that. But I think you have to go up because they have already opened up the space for attacking military targets in Pakistan. Now, what is the great restraint that I will only attack air defense targets and I will not attack the ISI headquarters in Appara or the core headquarters in Lahore? Why not? Now that you opened this up, then everything is up for attacking. The GHQ in Rawalpindi is up for attacking. Right? Now, if they want to go down that road, then I think we should not be holding back to go down that road.
Okay.
Because quite clearly, they have to step back and they have to start dismantling the infrastructure of terrorism. I think we have had enough. I think the government of India has made it clear multiple times. We don't want an escalation, but if you escalate, we will hit back. We will not hold back. We will hit back. Number one. Number two, we don't want to go into a kind of a war, but if this is what you are going to try and impose on us, we are going to come after you. I think that message is very clearly delivered. Now, the generals in Pakistan have to decide, is their survival more important than their country's survival? I think it's a very simple question for Pakistan and Pakistanis, maybe not for the Pakistan army, because, once they back out, they tend to lose their privileged position. And I think that is the biggest stumbling block from, them taking an off-ramp. And we need to be very clear about it. No face saving has to be given to these lowlifes. No face saving has to be given to these terror sympathizers. And they have come out openly in their sympathy for terrorists. And I have been pilloried for saying there is no difference between the Pakistani state and the Pakistani society. And we have seen evidence of that, how not a single Pakistani has said what the Indians targeted were terrorists.
Okay.
These are supposed to be innocent people. How are these innocent people living in Muridke in these terrorist training camps? Or
I think that is well settled. I think that is well settled. We don't need an excuse now. Not after this, do we, Wing Commander Abhishek Matiman is joining us. Wing Commander, what are we seeing here, and how do you see the Indian response now? Look, I don't know, but if you have to go and escalate, you have to go a step above what they are doing on the escalation ladder. We'll have to obviously take out some important, perhaps brigade headquarters. There are many options. So what will we deploy to do this? What can be done?
At the outset, Rahul, I must apologize for a late entry. Actually, I was busy referring to combat manuals and international conventions that define war.
Okay.
So let me congratulate all my countrymen. The Porkies have finally taken the bait. I strongly feel what we see right now in front of us is the beginning of the end of a state called Pakistan. Whatever the thresholds be and whatever the definitions, they have crossed all limits by all boundaries. We have been testing them. We have tested in the last 2 days their offensive as well as defensive capabilities, and thereafter we have been convinced that our capabilities, this has been repeatedly discussed on panels in the last 2 days, our capabilities, be it defense or offense, have proved far greater and much more efficient than the Pakistanis. Okay. India is going for the kill hereafter. I now have the end state that the Prime Minister stated in his first public rally in Bihar, right in front of me in my sights. Okay. No holds barred.
Okay, so you're believing this is a major miscalculation. Pakistan is digging its own grave. Okay, let me bring in General Bakshi. Let me bring in General Dhillon now. General Bakshi, General Dhillon, and General Pandey. I'm putting the same question to you. Is India in a place of dominance as we speak? At least at this level, are we in a place of dominance, General Bakshi? Because that will determine what we do next.
Look, Rahul, we would always have liked to have a bit more. Rafales come in, 120, ATAGs come in, etc. But let me assure you, what we have and what we have seen, we have the edge over Pakistan. Keep your aim very clear in your mind. If your aim is to impose deterrence of a level that will make Pakistan think 10 times before it plans the next Pahalgam, you have to go in for high-value military targets like the DGISI headquarters. You have to impose that costs and consequences. What you have done now, I'm very sorry, is very good, but it is not enough to get you deterrence. It can get you a silent period of 2, 3, 4 years. But then you will be back to the usual. Unless you hit now, you have the dominance, you have seen your dominance. Your air defense is dominating. Your navy is 3 to 4 times stronger. Now press that home, damn it. Press that home. You are hitting terror targets. Why haven't you hit Dawood? Why haven't you hit Dawood? Why are you trying to strictly keep the Navy out. And let me kindly reassure my good friend Sushant Sareen, in 1971, we had a very strong democratic dispensation. But Madam Indira Gandhi had given a free hand to Sam Manekshaw and the armed forces, and they deliver. I am very sure they will deliver beautifully.
Okay.
Beautifully.
Okay. Okay.
We now
So
have to get over that, deterrence is the main thing.
Deterrence is not
I
the-
mean,
Okay.
non-escalation, we've escalated.
okay.
Now, kindly
But
step,
Rahul,
Yeah.
let the armed forces do their bit.
General Bakshi should know that the Prime Minister has already issued instructions that
Give free hand.
he has left armed
Okay, so
forces
let's
to
just,
take
I think that is a secondary debate. Let's not confuse issues here. Let's just stick to the main debate. The point is, viewers, we now need to go up the escalation ladder. All our experts are saying it. General Dhillon, let me bring you in. Has India now proven that it is more than capable of climbing the escalation ladder from the evidence of what we have seen? That this is not really now about us doubting our own capacities, it is about executing our capacities to our full potential.
Rahul, India was always capable. India is a bigger military power. India is a bigger economic power. It is just that we did not want to go this far on this path, because we genuinely care for the international order. We genuinely care for how the civilizations behave. We genuinely care for how the responsible states behave. But Pakistan has chosen the path of escalating it, and escalating it to the level of civilian areas and international boundaries. Now, nothing stops India from taking the next step, and then where Pakistan out? Because if Pakistan is giving us a chance or giving us a reason to escalate and hit him harder, it is his choice. But point here is very clear. Pakistan is not thinking through the military mind. It is thinking through the Punjabi mind. Because this is not the way a military mind with such poor economy, with such poor state of other aspects of your state should be doing against a mighty country like India. So they are exposing themselves, and they are thinking that probably India of yesterday will behave like that. We are not India of yesterday, we are India of 2025.
Okay.
And we are not going to stop it just because Pakistan had a last laugh. This time India will have a last laugh, and Pakistan will cry for years to come.
Okay, General Dhillon, I have to ask you this. We've already exhibited that the S-400s are very, very capable of thwarting Pakistan. Now, how much of the S-400s do we have? How does this missile system work? Do we need more batteries? I think we have one right now, I'm not sure. Do we need more than one? What is our capacity right now of resisting Pakistan?
I never discuss capabilities of the weapon systems which we have.
Yes.
That is first point. That is a disclaimer.
Okay.
Now, point is, if people have understood what is Iron Dome of Israel,
Yeah.
and since people have seen it on TV because of the Hamas-Israel thing, Iron Dome of Israel is a short range, because Israel's enemies are at very short range. The launching pads are from very short range. So Iron Dome of Israel is a short range anti-missile system. Now S-400 is a short range, medium range and long range anti-missile, anti-drone, anti-aircraft. And it can at any one time scan and lock on to n number of targets. I'm not giving the numbers. And it can simultaneously neutralize n number of targets. So that is the capability this system has. And we have, as of now, we have adequate, and even if required during the war, we have adequate money with us in India to buy them off the shelf, unlike Pakistan. So if Pakistan is using up its missile inventory, in the long run, it is going to have a problem. So I will just suffice it to say India has adequate number of them, and I will just sum it up again. It is a short range, medium range and long range. It is a multi-target acquisition system, and it can lock onto multiple targets at the same time.
Okay, so this is an interesting question because General Pandey, I want to weave you into this. We've seen how the Iron Dome works in Israel. We're now seeing, of course, a demonstration of that in very capable hands, in Indian hands. And this is a question that I have to ask you. Have India's S-400s allowed India to be much more competent at defense, at aerial defense, than perhaps we were 5-7 years back. Is this a newly acquired capability on the back of a weapon system, or do we have others also, other weapon systems that actually are a force multiplier?
So in terms of AD, we are far behind about 20 years back, but with the arrival of S-400 and of course the Akash systems, when they operate in sync, our coverage has become very, very strong, especially for the bases and vital installations is pretty good. It's actually what we required. So S-400 allows us to actually strike much deep in the Pakistani airspace itself. The moment they take off from their respective areas, we have the capacity of taking them out. So that is the distance we get. This ensures that even before they cross the international border of line of control, wherever our S-400s are deployed, the possibility of their reaching even the IB is that much. In fact, the debris will fall possibly in their own area rather than crossing onto our side. So that's the major advantage of S-400. Right.
Let me quickly go across to Akash to get some fresh updates from the ground, and we're going to constantly now mesh this coverage between our reporters and our panel guests. So give us updates, Akash, what's happening. Give us a whole blow-by-blow breakdown of everything that is happening across the LOC, across the IB from north to south. Give us the whole lowdown.
Right, it started from Jammu. Then we saw that how across the areas till Punjab, there were multiple places that were targeted. Almost all of these attempts have failed. Till now, we have confirmation that none of the target, in fact, got hit. And in fact, at this point in time, we are learning about Rajasthan as well, where the Jaisalmer military station and in fact the Pokhran station as well were targeted. But again, it has been thwarted. In fact, in Punjab, there are several locations where we have been given to understand that there were attempts, but S-400, Akash, our Barak 8, the medium-range surface-to-air missiles are working pretty fine and in fact are thwarting these attempts. S-400 is in fact, has worked in the morning, early morning today, where we saw that multiple targets were there, multiple Air Force stations, radar stations were on target, and all of these attempts were thwarted. And at this point in time, we are learning that at multiple places air sirens are on, and in fact civil authorities are in fact issuing the advisories for the people to stay indoors, because this is one situation that is changing constantly. And in fact, I am learning about these constant attempts, Rahul. These attempts are still on. I have been told that Air Force officials are very much using the other technologies as well. In fact, we have IGLAs and handheld devices as well. So these devices are being used as well. These weapons and platforms are being used. But S-400 is playing a major role in it because of the range and of course the kind of technology that is employed. We have got 3 regiments of S-400 till now. We have not received 2 yet. But yes, these 3 regiments are working pretty fine. One for the western border, one for the northern border, and one for the eastern border. Deployed at multiple places. In fact, deployed at different places. And these this particular system, in fact, is working fine and is thwarting every sort of attempt. And in fact, every attempt where some military station or some military establishment is on target.
And long may that be. Long may that be. I've also stay on with me, Akash. I'm also going to weave in Ishan Vani, who's joining us from Srinagar. Srinagar is also been seeing some disturbances. Ishan, can you break it down for us? We have politicians from there tweeting away. What's going on?
Oh, well, there's blackout and some areas are reporting also sirens going off. This is for the first time that such activity has taken place in Srinagar. We had seen the such tensions building up in Jammu, but now it's also in Srinagar. And what we have been given to understand is that there's full alertness from all the forces deployed in Srinagar at vital installations. They are ready, they are geared up, they want to deal with the situation if it emerges or there is any challenging situation that arises. We don't want to share any operational details as of now, but there is blackout and electricity has been completely shut from every part of Srinagar right now, and the airport has been kept on high alert. The security vigilance is there at multiple places. We are told that there's a team of the forces kept on an alert to ensure that any attack that's done on Srinagar or Srinagar vital installations, that is immediately foiled. And there are possibilities not being ruled out by the authorities. That's a possibility of such activity taking place. Looking at what we have seen in Jammu and other parts of the North India, that there is a possibility that Srinagar and other areas can also witness this. There's already a heavy ceasefire violation going on in Tangdar, in Keran, and other parts of Kupwara, where also sirens have been heard. So this means that the entire line of control almost is now witnessing a massive shelling. Today there was lull, there was calm during the day. We're reporting there, but now sirens have gone off in Kupwara, and even in Srinagar, some areas are reporting that there are sirens, and there is darkness, complete dark, and but now one has to wait and see that where will there be any sort of attack on Srinagar or Srinagar vital installations. But as of now, it's calm, but it's completely electricity has been cut out, and the defense system and every kind of equipment has been ready to ensure that if any challenge arises, they're able to hit it, they're able to neutralize threat in anywhere in Srinagar or other parts of Kashmir Valley.
Well, this is a serious situation that is developing across the front, General Pandey. We've heard from Akash. I'm going to weave them in after your comments. What do you make of the commentary that you've heard, the updates that you're getting?
So, very clearly, what we see is that Asim Munir is caught in a cleft from which if he pulls back, he can't survive. And there's a big Punjabi ego which is pushing him to actually take the thing. Something has to happen within the Pakistani military community to ensure that they don't go on the path of the future destruction. And also very quickly that Pakistan has actually lost its relevance today for both China and for the deep state. Something will happen. The issue which remains now is our response to it, which I'm sure will be coming some in the later part of this thing. Whatever he's launched has been contested, dropped. The ceasefire violations are nothing new for the Indian military, which is happening in the entire length and breadth of Jammu, Kashmir and all.
So you see those pictures? That's Vaishno Devi Shrine.
No, it's gone for a blackout. Actually.
Yeah, it's gone for a blackout. So it was lit up, and this is a before and after. This is how the blackout has been affected. And we're also being told that messages have been put out by the administration in all places. And please explain this because it's quite technical. They said, don't panic when you see a red light. It's usually just the ignition of the ammunition cap from an anti-drone gun when it's fired. Sound may also imply that our defense system is working. Stay inside your homes. Keep lights turned off. What do you mean by the cap from anti-drone gun when it's fired? Please explain this red light that we see constantly.
Yeah, so firstly, a couple of things that I think the government had given a very clear instructions for practicing the blackout, and this information has moved around to people, and for the people, especially on the border areas, need to be very vigilant and all, because number of times people are saying that with the latest missiles who acquire the systems and nothing much can be done.
Yes.
And they don't have to actually visually see the targets. I must inform them that not all missiles have got the capacity to actually, they're very, very expensive and they're used for very specific targets and all. But largely, if you are keeping your lights on, it will ensure that the enemy, especially it is a man-controlled drone system, will be able to acquire targets and hit at will. So you have to be very, very careful. And when the drones are moving both sides, even when we are trying to shoot it down, there will be flashes which will happen. So people don't have to get worried about it. And there are counter drone systems which are also being deployed along the line of control, also along the IB, which are quite effective. In fact, they were also participating yesterday's.
Of course, we don't know, viewers, how we are responding, because that is something that we're not getting any confirmation on. It's quite possible that there are air raid sirens going off in Pakistani cities even as we speak. We don't know what the response from India has been. We can tell you what we are experiencing because it is happening where our reporters are. And I want to go back to Akash. I want to go back to Ishan. Akash, there are also statements now coming out of US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said there's a need for immediate de-escalation. He spoke, in fact, to EAM, Dr. Jaishankar, and there's a statement that has been put out by his office. But Siddharth, quickly update us on this Mark Rubio EAM communication that has taken place.
Well, yes, that's right, Rahul. In fact, this conversation has taken place just a short while back. In fact, this is what we have been told, and this release has come from State Department. And this release states that the Secretary of State emphasized the need for immediate de-escalation between India and Pakistan. In fact, Marco Rubio also expressed U.S. support for direct dialogue between India and Pakistan and encouraged continued efforts to improve communication. Marco Rubio also reiterated his condolences for the horrific terrorist attack in Pahalgam,
Yes.
and reaffirmed the United States commitment to work with India. Perhaps this is the second phone call between Marco Rubio and EM S. Jaishankar.
But clearly this
in
is
last
this
3 weeks.
escalation, this unlawful escalation from Pakistan is beginning to grab headlines world over. And remember viewers, tomorrow the IMF is supposed to meet to decide on a new loan for Pakistan. I just hope that the Americans are giving us a lecture about de-escalation and all that, get the IMF to stand down. We have of course an assistant director there who will also perhaps put that Indian point of view across. But we're also being called that the Raksha Mantri is meeting the service chiefs and the CDS. Akash Sharma has this news. Let me try and weave him into this. Akash, if you're there with us, RM meeting the service chiefs and the CDS. Sources are reporting this to you. Can you elaborate on this, please?
Right. So this is not an ordinary time. We are at the verge of a war because Pakistan is clearly, trying to escalate the situation. Given the fact that we have seen that today in the morning, they tried, some locations, and now once again, these locations, in fact, military installations, and in fact, the civilian areas are being targeted. So definitely these service chiefs and in fact CDS, are meeting Rajnath Singh, Raksha Mantri, to decide on the strategy that they are going to opt now. In fact, sources are telling us that Raksha Mantri is in fact, meeting these service chiefs. CDS is also present, possibly to decide as to what is going to be next course of action. Rahul, we have seen that how Pahalgam was avenged, and it was categorically mentioned by India that we don't want any escalation, and that's the reason why we are not targeting any civilian infrastructure or the military infrastructure for that matter. Then you tried our, the air defense systems, and we destroyed your air defense systems. Now you are trying our civilian population and in fact the military infrastructure. Now what is going to be the response? This is something that will be decided, in this meeting.
Okay, we're also getting news that Indian infantry and artillery attacks on Sialkot, Bajwat sector, Pakistan, there seems to be Indian action also taking place on Pakistani soil. General Pandey, how do you assess this? What's going on here?
So I think one is an artillery duel which will be happening is to destroy those places from where these attacks are being brought out, those gun areas and all. But in case the infantry is moving out, possibly to those locations from where we must have identified a suitable whatever is coming from that location, we need to neutralize that. I think that is for what the infantry must be moving out for limited action, possibly as of now.
Okay.
One can't actually fully comment upon it without knowing the entire picture, but this will be my assessment that there is a certain degree of physical maneuver which is not taking place.
Okay, inputs coming in on this from Manoj Gupta. We're also being told that a large number of Pakistani handles viewers now spreading disinformation after deniability in terror attacks by Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish. Now Pakistan is creating deniability in drone and missile attacks also. Akash, they are denying that there are any attacks taking place on Indian soil. They are saying that all of these are staged by India, that these are false flag operations to do Indian drama, and that Indian forces are attacking Punjab and Kashmir and all of this. All this fake news is being peddled now by the Pakistanis to try and build in operational deniability. Akash.
India is different in that way, you see, Rahul, because we are not Pakistan. We have got enough of capability to try and test our weapons, at places like Pokhran, and that's the reason why we cannot do that. And today, at this point in time, when we are reporting these drone attacks, so there is a clear indication that after getting frustrated from what happened, in the morning today, Pakistan is in fact trying these tactics. In fact, drones and artillery was something that was in fact fired towards the the civilian population and also the military infrastructure. Now we are learning that India is in fact taking action, and Manoj Gupta, our investigation editor, is reporting that how Indian infantry and artillery attack is there on Sialkot, and Pakistani army is responding to that particular attack. As of now, big update from the investigation editor Manoj Gupta that how Indian army is now in fact in action, and the infantry and the artillery is very much involved in this sort of attack on Pakistan.
Well, viewers, this is now obviously moving towards an escalation in the direction of a full-blown conflict. Professor Brahma Chileni also joins us. How do you see this now, where we are at what notch are we on the escalation ladder? Are we close on the brink of war, brink of an all-out conflict? What's going on?
Well, Operation Sindoor represents a paradigm shift in India's strategic posture toward Pakistan. Now, as you know, that for decades India allowed Pakistan to escape at best with a slap on its wrist for orchestrating cross-border terrorist attacks. So, against that background, Operation Sindoor represents a dramatic shift, and it was expected that Operation Sindoor, involving military operations, would invite strong Pakistani reprisals. But that doesn't mean that Pakistan is ready for a full-fledged war. India might be ready for a full-fledged war, but Pakistan least wants to get dragged into a full-fledged war. In fact, it doesn't have the capacity, economic and military, to sustain even this kind of conflict with India for too long. So the advantage is with India.
So why are they escalating then? Why are they constantly escalating in this illegal manner, which is disproportionate to even what India did, for example?
That is the way they always respond. We shouldn't forget how they responded to a single airstrike at Balakot. They responded in a dramatic manner by sending a wave of warplanes into India's J&K, bombing an Indian military base, dropping bombs elsewhere. That was a very dramatic escalation by Pakistan. Unfortunately, we did not respond to that response of Pakistan. We allowed them to get away with that kind of response. And that's the reason why, partly, we are where we are today. But that's also the reason why Operation Sindoor, when it was planned, factored in all the scenarios involving Pakistani reprisals. And what Pakistan is doing this evening was clearly factored in, and that's the reason why we are seeing certain steps being taken, including declaring blackouts, preparing civilian populations, and mounting prompt counteractions against Pakistan. And I think that this will go on. In fact, we should expect Operation Sindoor to be taken to its logical conclusion. If it's not taken to its logical conclusion, then it will not be a success. We will not be able to end Pakistan's cross-border terrorism. Let's be clear, India will have to bear some costs. Will have to bear some casualties too. There's no way India can actually end Pakistan's cross-border terrorism without taking risks. That is a given. And I think that we shouldn't look at this as an opening to a full-fledged war. No, I don't think this is an opening to a full-fledged war, but certainly it's a clear opening to a more aggressive, proactive Indian posture.
Okay, let me get in Group Captain Augustine Vinod. Group Captain, how are we assessing the Indian response? Obviously, the air defense systems are kicking in. Give us a quick overview, really, of the Indian response so far and the Pakistani provocation.
Absolutely. In fact, for the sake of viewers and us, it is important for us to understand the shape of things to come A and what is happening B. In our case, we went and attacked a viable terrorist target. Pakistan did not have, the often used word off-ramp to do some action in India and say that is it. They did not have a swift retort kind of action this time, because this time it was surgical strike, airstrike, and all combined together. So that time also, I think we were in the morning talking about it, and we said in hours to come probably we'll be discussing about war, and that is what has happened. Because once they are confused what to do, they will do exactly what they are doing right now. That's point number one. But Rahul, what is more important for us to understand is, if you don't call this a war, what will you call a war? So to me, this is nothing less than any war would be, because they have been all.
It's undeclared, but effectively it's a war.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, weeks, months down the road, once we finish all this, and when we discuss, we will, term it as a war. So right now, let's call the spade a spade and say it is a war, because they are hitting military targets. Unlike us, we did not hit the military targets. If we wanted to, we could have gone whole hog and finished off entire frontline fighter squadrons of theirs and fighter bases of theirs and called it a day. We did not do that. We did exactly what the Sindoor signifies.
Okay.
We took out only those people.
Well, movement
Yes,
at
you have some
7
breaking.
LKM. I'm just going to point out these visuals, viewers. This is 7 LKM. This is the Prime Minister's residence in Delhi. There's a lot of movement there, a lot of cars going in and out. You can see that's the exit. It exits onto the Lok Kalyan Marg. And there you go, viewers. That's cars going in and out. We've been told that the RM is also meeting the 3 service chiefs and the CDS. So there's a lot of confabulation going on in, of course, the decision-making circles, which is not unsurprising, given the fact that we have a system that we are grappling with, which is short of actually a declared war. That's what Group Captain is saying. Group Captain, obviously Indian forces are responding. We're also being told now that we're responding in the same manner. So what would that entail? And I want to bring in General Pandey on that also. So Group Captain, go first. When they say we are responding in the same manner, describe a response in the same manner.
The response is, the DGISPR or that whoever the army person is who came up and said we've lost to the JF-17s, and they have sort of confessed.
Well, I think that might be fake news. I'm not going to believe anything that comes out of Pakistan, to be very honest. I mean, the Pakistanis have perfected the art of even deceiving themselves. So God knows what they're trying to do here. But till the Indian government doesn't confirm this, let's just keep it out of the equation.
I know, but they also said Dusra Banda, who, I don't know who that Dusra Banda is. So yeah, but absolutely, I'm with you, Rahul, on this. See, people need to understand the counter or the DIAD operations, the destruction of enemy air defense operations that we are carrying out is again a defensive operation. The destruction of enemy air defense is a part of something called a counter air operations, in which we again are going to blind them and immobilize them so that they do not attack us. Our aim is not to go and do some destructions that they are at least trying to do, and which we can see on the screen in Jammu. Like my wife was currently caught in the crossfire right in Jammu.
Okay.
In the thick of, I was just speaking to her in the thick of all
okay.
the attack that is happening. She was standing outside and laughing at the way these guys are trying to, tickle us by sending those small drones, which we are taking out using guns. I can safely say not major damage that we are looking at least in Jammu. Rest of the areas I do not know. This is straight from the horse's mouth. But important for us to understand that the operation that we are carrying out is A, measured, B, is towards the purpose of keeping our frontal areas safe, including Poonch, Rajouri and that sector. But I'm also hearing something is happening in the Jaisalmer and Badmer area as well. If that happens, then it is, Rahul, believe you me, General will bear me out, it is all hell break loose. There is so much of ground we can cover right down to the banks of Sindh.
There is Jammu, Jaisalmer, Pathankot, Akhnur, all of these areas. The border is hot. The border
absolutely, and so much of area we can grab that tomorrow in doing quid pro quo, probably they may have to hand us over right up to Islamabad. I don't know.
You think will happen, General Pandey?
Yeah, I think when you say the equitable response is on, something was already done in the morning, which we were able to deliberately hit, cross on the side, and the gap of 80, as Augustine has just brought out. Augustine, I hope your family is right and doing well. And so is everybody else. But the fact is that I think we are going to up the ante and hit across here and after similar targets, if not more, right? So while RT duels are going on, that is par for the course. But more importantly, I think much more will happen.
NSA Doval is briefing the Prime Minister. We're going to try and get you an update on that with a reporter. This is the second meeting in the day between the NSA and the Prime Minister. The one earlier in the day, viewers, took place at around 11 o'clock or maybe even 10:45, and it went on till about 11:30, 11:45. It was a 1-hour meeting And now we know why that was a 1 hour meeting, because at that time we didn't know that Pakistan had overnight tried to attack us in 15 different places all along the LOC and the IB, all the way down to Bhuj in Gujarat. So now, of course, we have another meeting. Obviously, the NSA briefing the Prime Minister on the latest misadventures by Pakistan. This one, of course, might be a one that they live to regret. Professor Chelani, do you think the Pakistanis this time have made an error of judgment, maybe even a catastrophic one?
That time will tell. It will depend very much on the political will that either side musters. This is a test of political wills. Pakistan traditionally has sought to make up for the power asymmetry with India through stronger political will. On our side, political will has been lacking often. So today we are at a critical point. The outcome of the current confrontation will be determined not by military combat, it will be determined by who wins the battle of political wills.
Okay, who wins the battle of political wills? This is very, very serious, viewers. Serious situation now unfolding, General Pandey. And I want to just bring in Akash and the other reporters. Is Ishan Wani still there? Okay, Ishan, coming out to you. Pakistani media is also putting out these reports that India is cooking up stories, etc., etc. Can you just give us a situation report really of what's happening behind you? Quite clearly, Jammu, areas attendantly close to Jammu, Srinagar, all on high alert because there is some activity, isn't it?
Well, yes, it has been foiled. As you see that in Jammu, that multiple attempts were made to target defense establishments, to target other key locations, but all of them have been completely, completely stopped, and none of them has been allowed to happen. Even in Srinagar, it's completely dark. It's blackout right now, and as we speak, there are sirens being heard by certain residents in certain areas. But we have been also told that even in Kupwara, which is again a frontier district, there also sirens have been heard, apart from the artillery shelling which is going on across the line of control in Kashmir Valley at the moment. What we have been also given to understand that all the sensitive locations right now across Kashmir are on the highest readiness and alert, and to ensure that no drone is able to go through the defenses, the highest level of preparedness has been done. Be it the Srinagar airport, be the other key locations which we don't want to reveal right now given the sensitivity of the operations. But yes, the defense system is there prepared to deal with any sort of eventuality. There are imposed a possibility of drones coming towards Srinagar and attempting to hit actually certain parts and certain establishments, but the air defense system has been kept robust and they will not be allowed to hit any of these locations. Yes, it's true that there are drones which have tried to attack locations in Jammu, come from Pakistan. It's a very clear. Defense sources also saying that they tried to sneak in, but they were actually well aware about the possibility of this taking place, and that's why you're seeing that all of these videos where you see flares up, those are the systems trying to ensure that they're able to foil them before they target anyone or before they try to hit any location. It's completely dark. The traffic is very minimal. People are checking what's really happening, if there has been any attack. But let us also tell viewers that let's not listen to rumors. There are a lot of rumors floating around right now. Only listen to authentic news. There has been appeal made by the government multiple times that don't rely on WhatsApp forwards, don't rely on anything like this. There are advisories, follow them at the moment. It's the electricity across several important districts has been cut. It's completely dark in Srinagar, and in Jammu there is a befitting response that the Indian Army is giving.
Okay, very quickly, stay on with me, Akash. Let me bring you into this. What's the latest from the ground? Any reports of any damage, or is all the damage being inflicted by Indian S-4 air defense systems?
Right, there is no report of any damage till now, Anand. In fact, Rahul, I'm sorry. And in fact, tactical air defense, is with Indian Army. We all know that how Indian Army, the AAD, Corps is very much responsible for the tactical, defense. And they have got Akash too, that is very much employed. So we are learning that till now there is no damage. And in fact, Indian Army has already started retaliation. There are, inputs coming from the Western Front as well. We are waiting for the confirmation, but there are inputs that Indian Army is retaliating and retaliating in the same manner. There is an input that In Jalandhar also there was, in fact, Jalandhar station was attempted, but it has been thwarted. And in fact, other places as well, several other places in Punjab too, there are attempts. But air defense system is very much there. Akash is there, MRSMs are there, and also we have S-400 that you are talking about.
Well, the DC of Jalandhar has come out and said, dear all, and he's addressing the public at large. He says, you're aware of what's going on, but this is the exact situation that we have practiced for in the last 3 days. Our armed forces is taking care of most of things, and they have neutralized most of the drones. We all should support them and help in adhering to the protocol of blackout, as well as prevention of fake news, videos, messages that can spread panic among common people. Civilian population is not being targeted as per official information, so please don't worry and be calm. General Saab, your quick input on what you're hearing, and I'll open this up to the group captain also. Yes.
So like the perception continues to remain that they are trying to hit the military targets and try to maintain a certain degree of control on the escalatory ladder, which may not be very, very correct, because in Poonch yesterday they have actually killed more than 15 civilians, and they've carried out hitting the civilian targets. So very willy-nilly, it's not exactly the same that they are trying to restrict the escalation to only military installations. And I think this level of attack which they have expanded now in the night is quite higher than what was in the previous level. Is it signaling that okay, we want to leave at this high, or is it a lure and draw? But I will go with what Brahma
What do you mean by lure and draw?
Yeah, is possibly they are wanting us to bait out and come for this thing, because this whole thing started with Pahalgam itself, of a baiting out system in which we have not baited out. We have tried to hit only those select target and started with non-escalatory manner from the first day onwards. But they are clearly baiting us out, because that is the requirement of this present gentleman, Asim, not gentleman, I think
he's a rogue.
A radical rogue, Asim Munir. That is his requirement to survive.
Yes.
And the moment this whole thing opens up, which he knows will lead to destruction, but that will allow his legacy to continue. And I think that is where we are going, and the flurry of activity which is reported on our side is also indication of possibly something more of a red line being crossed.
More than a red line being crossed. Group captain.
Let's see, couple of things. I'm just picking up from what General talked about. See, in our scheme of things, we have always said that we want to stop it. And the onus, the ball was always in Pakistan's court. It was never in our court.
Yes.
Even today, Rahul, it is not in our court. It is still in Pakistan's court. But the problem is, A, decision dilemma. B, who's taking the decision in the higher echelons of Pakistan itself is in a very big question. We showed visuals where cars going in and out of the Prime Minister's residence, and we know for sure that in our case, it is the polity which takes the decision. In their case, polity is held by the nose by the Fauj, and Fauj takes the decision, and Fauj, believe you me, especially the Pakistan Fauj, is always trigger happy kind of Fauj. Secondly, the decision taken at the top, not necessarily, and we have seen it in the past, Rahul, not necessarily are there too by their core commanders and their commanders down below. So it is possible that the core commanders have taken, in the case of Pakistan, a unilateral decision to do what they want to do, especially as I see across the Jammu sector as well as in the Rajasthan sector. So there are a lot of, one-upmanship. Who will succeed Munir? Those are a lot of such kind of chaos that exists in Pakistani Fauj. I would give about 30 to 40% of that reason also for this escalatory ladder to be breached.
Well, the Integrated Defence Staff has issued a statement, General Saab, saying that there is a synergized retaliation. What does this mean?
So the thing which is happening is that while army is using the systems which are available to it in terms of drones, the loitering munitions, the other assets which are available to them, not only to attack but also the AD system which are deployed on the ground under control of the army and the Air Force, they are synergized. So there are targets which have been segregated by both Army and Army, Navy and Air Force, in which the selected targets, like for example, the targets which are within the reach of the military Indian Army will be hit by the Indian Army assets, and the ones which are required to be hit by the Air Force will be hit by the Air Force. And similarly, the Navy is going to carry out hitting of along the Karachi side, whatever they have to hit. So this is a synergized application based on the entire spread in terms of
the one thing, viewers, there is a blackout. Yes, there is a blackout very, very, very obviously in a large number of cities along the LOC and the IB, but there is also a metaphorical blackout. We don't know how India is responding on the other side. We believe that there is a beginning of some sort of retaliation in full force, but we don't know. But what we are being told is that the threats have been neutralized by the army as per the SOP, that India has thwarted the attacks on military station Pathankot and Adampur, and just about anywhere else. It's a synergized retaliation that has thwarted any military overtures from Pakistan, and we just heard the general break that down for us. SSP of the Union Territory of Chandigarh has said that Chandigarh will be observing a blackout until further orders. All are requested to switch off all lights and stay indoors. Why do we need to switch off our lights? In case people still don't understand the reason behind it. There are some people who say that, oh, you don't need to today because these are computers that guide missiles. They're already pre-fed with information. It's it obviates all of that. So can you explain, please?
So the pre-fed systems are extremely expensive, are required to be hitting targets which are equally expensive, and they are required to be put down. But there are a larger number, more than 90% equipment or the munitions in the arsenal which don't require those systems. They are dumb systems.
Okay.
The second is when you are operating a drone system in which it is a man-controlled system, man behind, and doesn't have a certain degree of guidance system which is available.
Right.
It has to look for the targets, so you don't make it easier for them.
Okay, a big statement coming out. First of all, viewers, another fact check. Inputs with respects to suicide attack by terrorists at Pathankot or Rajouri is completely false. So the Indian government putting that out for all of us. Clearly there is been news somewhere about this, so that's being put aside. Also, viewers, Dr. Jai Shankar coming out and saying that India has been measured in its actions, however any escalation will get a firm response. So, Brahma Chileni, India has been measured in its actions, however any escalation will get a firm response. This is an escalation. Do you believe that we should no longer harbor illusions, try to sound holier than thou? We should now respond at a higher level. Is that what is required now to once again nudge Pakistan into deterring?
Well, India is still playing to the international gallery. It should now be focusing on delivering hard blows to Pakistan. India, as the stronger military power, can control the escalation ladder. It can escalate the conflict, or it can de-escalate the conflict to its advantage. So, given that reality, India should be a bit more proactive, because if they inflict, let's say, X amount of destruction on India, India should be willing to inflict twice that on Pakistan in order to deter further attacks from Pakistan. So this kind of measured response at this stage would only embolden the Pakistani military generals to keep upping the ante. They have to be dealt firmly, and I think equal response at this stage is not the pragmatic way to end this ongoing conflict.
Okay. This is now a conflict. Watch the words that people are using now, viewers. It's a conflict. Many people are now calling it maybe undeclared, but this is what a conflict looks like. Harbor no illusions. Wing Commander. Harbor no illusions, this is a conflict.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So, see, there are two things that we need to understand. First, when our civilians were hit. I mean, in Poonch, it was a war for me, and number of people who died almost equaled the Pahalgam attack, or maybe slightly short. It was a war for me then, because when you hit the civilian population who are unarmed, it's a war, or at least a war-like scenario. Now you've gone all out and hit all across my border, right from north
Yes.
to the western zone. How do I look at it? That's
Okay.
point number one. Point number two, and right, like General said,
Yes.
the aspect about keeping ourselves safe. It's very, very important that, I mean, through the channel, I say this to
Yeah.
all the people of India.
Okay,
Be
I
very,
need to,
very
I need
careful
to, I need to very quickly. There's some news breaking. Just going straight across to Anshul, who is reporting from Jalandhar. Anshul, yes. Anshul.
So yes, just a few moments ago, it was reported from out here in Jalandhar that there were projectiles that were fired towards Jalandhar, especially at the NIT Jalandhar is what we have been told, and all these attempts were actually thwarted by the air defense system of the country. But I'll just try and show you visuals around here as to how this entire area has been turned into an absolute blackout. Until 4 a.m. this morning, the notification has come from the local district administration that till 4 a.m. At least till 4 a.m. there will be a complete blackout that will be observed all across this district of Jalandhar and in the nearby districts as well. Much like districts like Pakwara is also seeing similar lines as well. Not only this, but also these highways that are leading towards Pathankot. In all those highways as well, there is absolute blackout that has been maintained. All the street lights have been switched off. The vehicles that are moving from here, they are also being checked and frisked over here. So definitely the Indian forces are definitely on their toes, making sure that each and every cowardly attempt that is being made by the rogue nation of Pakistan, that can be thwarted over here. And a clear message is being given out to Pakistan that because of these cheap missiles that are being thrown towards towards India, towards our country, these missiles are not enough to harm anyone, let alone demoralize even a single person of this entire nation.
Okay, well, those are heartening words, very heartening words. India is holding ground, viewers. Let me quickly give you an overview. 10:30 in the evening, about 2 hours ago, we received reports of loud bangs and explosions taking place in Jammu. But we are being now told, viewers, and this was going to happen, India has hit Lahore. Big story. India has hit Lahore. We're going to try and get you more inputs on this. India hits Lahore. This is big. Remember, India had already decimated the air defense system and capacities in Lahore. This was waiting to happen, wasn't it, General Pandey? I'm going to come to you, and could you hold forth on this a little bit? This is a big news. This is a big news, isn't it?
You know, it's a very, very important step. We are just discussing about it, and the statements have also come about on this, on a response which we measured response. So while everybody may be wanting a response which is desired by the emotions, but I think the line which the previous speaker just said, your reporter on the ground said, that a rogue nation, right? There is a difference between a rogue nation and a responsible nation, and we are escalating our response based on a responsible manner, and this is the next level that our drones are now hitting Lahore, and I'm sure majority of other areas will be hit. We will come to know as the operations unfold, and I'm sure we'll wait for those input for us.
Okay, now I just wanted to ask you, because if Akash joining us on this big turn of events after blunting air defense, India has hit Lahore. Akash, quickly give us the update on this. What does this mean? India hits the heart of Pakistan, the Pakistan's most important city, really, the citadel of power of the Punjabi elite that runs Pakistan has been hit. Brahmachaleni also here with us. But yes, Akash, give us the update.
Lahore and Islamabad are the two locations that we are learning, but once again, I would reiterate that we are not revealing any operational detail because of the fact that it is still on, and also as far as the Lahore thing is concerned. So we have seen in the morning today that how the air defense systems in Lahore, within Lahore, were destroyed by the Indian Air Force, and once again we are learning that since in the evening today we have received these sort of drones and projectiles from Pakistan. So in the similar language, Indian armed forces are now retaliating, Rahul, and Lahore and Islamabad are two locations that we are learning initially.
This was on the cards, wasn't it? You reported, and I was with you on air at that time, you reported that significant damage, and in fact the Indian Army confirmed it, putting out a statement, significant damage had been done to the air defense system. And we've got pictures obviously from the past, from the afternoon. We can pull out those pictures and put it on the screen. This is earlier. So Akash, this was waiting to happen. The air defense systems there were completely taken out, weren't they?
Yes, in fact, Rahul, as far as Indian Air Force is concerned, so we know that how in the morning today, they not only thwarted the, attempts, but also, destroyed, the air defense systems of Pakistan. We know that how there are Chinese systems that are in place, very much deployed. But once again, the attack came towards us.
Okay, more information. Akash is reporting. Akash, India also hitting Islamabad too. This is very, very big. So we are beginning to put out a lot of news. Islamabad, the political heart of Pakistan, also hit. Both Lahore and Islamabad both hit. Yes. Elaborate, please.
Exactly.
Akash.
And, Rahul, I was stressing on the similar, language and the retaliation, and this is what we are learning, that Indian Army as of now, is retaliating in the similar manner. There is a clarification, no tank movement is happening, as there is a buzz about it on social media specifically, no tank movement, but yes, artillery is being fired, and in fact, we are learning that several locations are being targeted now in Pakistan as well. There are some sort of details that we of course cannot reveal, but yes, there are several locations for which we have got confirmation just a while back, and in fact, Indian Army at this point in time, and also the Indian Air Force, that is constantly thwarting all those, in fact, attempts that are, there to target the military establishment in Jalandhar, in other parts of Punjab, in Jammu. We have seen in Rajouri and Poonch. We know that how ceasefire violation is happening. At the LCA, different areas, we already know that how ceasefire violations, are happening. But Indian Army as of now is retaliating, and we are learning about several locations in Punjab that are being hit by the artillery.
Okay, so this is important, General Pandey.
Yeah.
Symbolically, this is very important.
Symbolically, is very important because Lahore is the heart and soul of, while Islamabad is the political capital, you get Rawalpindi as a military capital which controls the entire country, but Lahore is the most important feature, is the most important population center in entire Punjab, and hitting in Punjab, all these locations, is very, very symbolic.
It is a seat of actually...
All three seats are there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. This is also the seat of Shehbaz Sharif. The Sharif family's influence originates from the heart of Punjab. Brahma Chileni, put this into perspective. If this is true, this is very, very big. We have no reasons to doubt it. We won't be putting this news out. Islamabad and Lahore, the significance of this, please.
Well, first, it shows that India is not responding in similar measure. It's responding proactively and punitively. That is the way India can deter Pakistan. But more importantly, even though there are these artillery duels being reported, this has essentially become an air war where India has the the edge, because India's air power is superior to Pakistan's. Of course, India has to factor in Pakistan's support from China. China, as you know, calls Pakistan its iron brother, and in recent days, after the Pahalgam massacre, China rushed new weapon systems to Pakistan, including air-to-air systems.
Yes.
In fact, the only important country to criticize the launch of Operation Sindoor was China. China condemned the Indian strikes as regrettable.
Yeah.
So today, as India mounts this offensive against Pakistan, it cannot lower its guard along the Indo-Tibetan frontier. So India actually is wedged between two nuclear-armed states. Both are revisionist powers.
Okay, well, of course, that's a whole different ball game, and the level of escalation, of course, then is dramatically higher. But as of now, what I wanted to understand really from you was the symbolic importance of taking the fight into the Pakistani administrative capital and the cultural capital of Punjab, the beating heart of Pakistan. It is, viewers, let me tell you, symbolically the most important step, because Lahore notionally is the seat of the Pakistani elite, the Punjabi elite that controls all of Pakistan. Its writ runs across not just parliament, all organs of the state, including the courts, the military, and of course in Islamabad you have the seat of governance. So this is very big, isn't it, Brahmachareni? From an escalation point of view, you're right to say this is dramatic escalation by India. What do you think is going to be the response, General Pandey? I mean, a capital city. Now, if you want to go, will Pakistan go and ramp it up? Will they come deeper in? What's going to happen?
So, we are handing options for the Pakistani system establishment to think over what they are going to do.
Okay.
There's a very copybook, very, I think this I have never seen or heard in any of the wars which has or conflicts which have come about, where the escalatory ladder is under control, right? And you just see the nuanced difference between each and every strike which is happening. Compliments to the leadership which is coordinating all this, that you first get hit in Pahalgam, you respond to a terrorist, this thing, you tell the world, we are responsible, check the rogue guy.
And we're giving him plenty of time.
Plenty of time. He comes back with something, we go back again a little level up, that yes, we don't want this to happen. You try to hit our military system, and I think the previous speaker said very clearly, once you cross the IB and LC and try and hit across, even if we have brought down your systems, that is still an act of aggression. And therefore you go back and tell them that we can breach and hit.
So what is the thinking right now? Let me bring in Professor Chileni. What is the thought right now that's running through the Pakistani administration in Islamabad? That's the seat of power. It's been attacked. Now you have Lahore, the cultural capital really of Punjab province, the one that has the writ over all of Pakistan. Just put these things together and tell our viewers what it means. What do you think is going to be the response? Will it really scar the psyche now of the people of Pakistan?
I think you have answered your own question, Rahul, very well, because this is quite a psychological blow to the Pakistani elites, especially the military elites, and their puppet civilian government today, led by Shehbaz Sharif. It's important to know that in striking Lahore, India had an opening after taking out the air defense system in Lahore. The field was open for India to launch strikes on Lahore. On Islamabad, we do not know whether India actually neutralized the air defense system protecting Islamabad. But we also don't know what India has hit in Lahore and Islamabad. Has India hit only military installations, facilities, or India has actually hit symbols of Pakistani state power? If military installations alone have been targeted, of course this will greatly rattle the already nervous Pakistani military generals who did not expect such a robust Indian response. They clearly miscalculated. They miscalculated because they thought that India would chicken out the way India chickened out after the Balakot airstrike led to a dramatic Pakistani response. This time they're getting back in kind. And getting back in kind, not just in kind, they're getting back in such a punitive way that now they must be realizing that they took on they took on a fight that they cannot really fight for too long.
Yes, General Saab.
Yeah, Rahul, just understand one thing. There are only 4 important cities for them.
Okay.
Karachi, Islamabad, Rawalpindi and Lahore. There is nothing else. It's a slice of land. There is no strategic depth, we discussed in the afternoon. And with the breach in the AD system, one thing is proved to the elite, the military leadership, the population, that we will hit you wherever we want to. I'm sure there is a huddle which is going on and a competition which is happening or discussion which is happening by the Asim Munir-led rogue elements and also some other elements, that who will stall where are you leading? I'm sure they must be reaching out like Nawaz Sharif did, dialing, while it's too early to say, right? But there is a time where they will have to start looking at which point they need to pull back, because it is clear signal to them that we are going to keep on escalating till the time your behavior doesn't change. Their behavior is not going to change. The strategic orientation will not change for not using terrorism as a state tool, as a state policy to use terror as a tool. That will not change.
Yeah, exactly.
But the
that's not
fact
going
is
to
that
change,
the current system, current escalation ladder,
yes,
they will have to start looking very, very critically that where we are going to stop and how we are going to stop.
So the off-ramp you're talking about, and also face saver, because now General Munir needs one, doesn't it, Group Captain? He needs a face saver. That's the one thing he needs. Now, we are not giving him that face saver. We gave him the opportunity to go off-ramp. We said after our first number of strikes that, look, we've only target terror infrastructure. Don't take the next step. He thought, India ain't going to take this too far. And now we've reached Islamabad, Lahore, of course, albeit we don't know. Maybe it was just an attack. Maybe it's all been thwarted. But clearly, the same sort of tension that has been ringing out in Indian cities, where your wife is, for example, in Jammu, is now gripping Islamabad and Lahore. And that says a lot.
So,
Rahul, give me a minute.
Yeah.
Give me a minute to explain the offensive part that we are doing.
Yes.
For the sake of viewers and for the sake of us who are sitting and discussing this.
Yeah.
See, there is an aspect in air war called selection and maintenance of aim. In our case, it was very, very clear that we selected an aim which was Lahore. We maintained that aim, and we did it, exactly as per the copybook style. We first took out the AD radars. We softened up the area there. Now it is just, Rahul, mark my words, it is just a matter of time. We will probably be sitting on the outskirts of Lahore. I have absolutely no doubt on my mind. And like I said, it is with a purpose. It is something called effects-based operation, EBO we call it. You can fire all across the LC in all the bases like a headless chicken. We do not do that. We do operations based on a certain aim. We maintain that aim and we work towards that aim. And to me, it is very, very clear as of now that aim is Lahore. And once Lahore and piece of that particular portion of land is with us, it could be outskirts or the entire Lahore. Let me tell you, he will be on his knees. And probably it will be another General Niazi for him signing, peace accord with us.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Of course, that is probably the aim, and that should be the aim. And India is going to not leave anything unturned this time. Remember, viewers, in the run-up to this, and General Sivach is here and he'll bear me out on this. General Sivach, in the run-up to this, India has been saying that one day POK will be got back. We will get back POK. Now, this is what has been said. Now, look, viewers, early days. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but General Sivach, it's important to take note that a very symbolic shift has taken place tonight. Yes, the Pakistanis have tested unprovoked our patience once again. They've refused to take the off-ramp. But now we have said, okay, you want to play this game? We will come straight into your hearts. One is the cultural capital of Pakistan, the Punjabi heart, the bastion of the Sharif family, of most of the Punjabi elite of the army, the judges, just about anyone who's anyone in Pakistan comes either from Karachi or they come from Lahore. Let's be honest about that. And now we've also tickled in some way Islamabad, which is the heart of their administrative setup. So these are big signals from India. Very big.
Absolutely. See, Rahul, 2-3 issues. First of all, we must understand that the air defense system of both countries are very different. Now, we have proved beyond doubt the S-400 is impregnable. And it is not only a single layer, there are 4 tiers. There are PAD, then the AAD, and then you have basically Akash and then S-400. So it is very difficult for Pakistani drones or missiles to penetrate through our air defense system. But other way around, it is that Pakistan is vulnerable. because their H9 air defense system which they have received from China is proved to be totally unsuccessful, and we have managed to neutralize the air defense system of Lahore. So this is the biggest difference which is happening between the two countries. In case they follow this, that the drone versus drones, missile versus missile, we will still able to maintain and manage that these will be intercepted by our air defense system. What about Pakistan? So they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable in Lahore. Their air defense system neutralized. They are vulnerable in Islamabad. And I suppose our next target is Rawalpindi, the general headquarters, because that is the place where GHQ is there. And also, these 3-4 power seats which are Lahore, Islamabad and Rawalpindi, you start hitting them.
MOD putting out a statement. I need to just quickly update our viewers. So 9 minutes to 11 o'clock in the evening, MOD puts out a statement, says military stations at Jammu, Pathankot, Adampur were targeted by Pakistani origin drones and missiles along the IB in Jammu and Kashmir today. The threats were swiftly neutralized using kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities in line with established standard operating procedure. No casualties or material losses were reported. India remains fully prepared to defend its sovereignty and ensure the safety of its people. A big statement coming out of the MOD, sir. Yeah. How do you interpret this very quickly, sir?
So I think is one of the firstly is a very quick response. Generally, it takes time for MOD to come this thing. So therefore, I think the systems are quite live, and information is flowing back and forth very, very quickly. And in case they have been able to put out this very, very firmly, it shows that whatever operations the Pakistanis had tried to do for at least at this point of time had been neutralized quite well enough. And as it was said very clearly, that is a synergized effort to ensure that whatever targeting was being done has been put down. So all the Air Force missiles were attacked have been taken away by the Air Force. Systems were in place, and other areas which were being targeted by drones and all have been taken out by the other elements. So I think it's a very great
integrated
effort. Yeah, it's a very good.
Okay, so we're also being told, viewers, that parallelly the Indian government has approached Twitter to block 8,000 accounts. So those are also going to be blocked, because disinformation is a major weapon in the hands of somebody who wants to spread all sorts of rumors and disaffection in the public mind. So that is also being taken care of as we speak. So these are big moves, very big moves. Also, a letter being shared on social media claiming that the Chief of the Army Staff, General V.K. Narayan, has sent a confidential letter regarding military preparedness to the Army officer of the Northern Command, etc., etc., is completely fake. There is no such thing that has happened. So, in fact, General Narayan is not even the COAS. So, yeah. So all of this is also happening in the backdrop, viewers. All of this, of course, tells us that we are now clearly moving into another phase. So this is Operation Sindoor 3.0, quite clearly. HM has also dialed DGPs of border states to take stock of the situation unfolding in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Gujarat, Rajasthan. Why is this call being made, sir? What does this mean?
I think basically to tell them about issues will be happening, to take stock of law and order aspect. There will be certain movement, and people, there will be fear amongst the population which will want to move back to safer areas. Those kind of things have to be managed in case it happens. People start looking at for future that they want to move slightly behind. The third is that to actually synchronize this whole thing, because this thing is going to be a long term.
Let me just go across to Arunima, who's got more details on this. The HM making calls now. Arunima.
Yes, sir. So the international border is on fire, and therefore the BSF DG has been dialed by the Home Minister to understand from him as to what the situation is. Yes, our air defense system has worked very well, but BSF is on high alert, be it in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan, or be it in Kutch area of Gujarat, or Amritsar in Punjab, or it is the Rajouri Poonch sector and all the way down to Jammu. The entire international border has been aflame for the last 2.5-3 hours now. So the civilian population, what is their status right now? There were instructions given to ensure that the civilians in forward areas be evacuated and taken to safe centers. So the Home Minister, we are told, has taken stock after speaking to BSF DG. He has also spoken to CISF DG, because CISF is the force in charge of guarding our airports. In most areas, starting with Jammu, the air assets were the targets, and then we saw the air assets in Pathankot and in Adampur and in Arnia. All across these areas, our air and defense assets were targeted. So since the air assets and the civilian airports in a lot of areas are in close proximity, so the Home Minister has also spoken to CISF about the steps that are being taken. Not just that, the DGPs of the border states, so Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, amongst others, their DGPs are constantly being spoken to by the Home Minister to try and figure out the situation in their respective areas and what more can be done as far as internal security is concerned.
Okay, NOTAM also has been issued, viewers, across a large number of airports. So Chandigarh, Srinagar, Amritsar, Ludhiana, Bhantar, Kishangarh, Patiala, Shimla, Kangra, Gaggal, Bhatinda, Jaisalmer, and these are pictures coming in from Uri right now. Uri was also the place where a large number of shelling was taking place on the first night, the CFV. Just talk us through this, General Saab. What's going on?
Yeah, so what you can hear is totally the rocket attacks, and this is what you can see. The visual is of firing of direct firing guns, and also a lot of artillery activity. This is very clearly you can make out this is a firing of direct small arms weapon, which is being fired in the line of control.
Okay, right. So this is a localized...
It's a localized effort, and the flashes which you can see is possibly of mortars, and at the very most it may be of artillery, but what I can make out from the from the visual is about mortars only.
Okay, so about 24 NOTAM has been issued across about 24 airspaces, airports from Leh, Jammu, Mundra, Jamnagar, Hirasar, which is Rajkot, Porbandar, Keshod, Kandla, Bhuj. Bhuj, of course, was in the news. So these are pictures that are coming straight out of Uri, deferred live visuals, and you can see those mortars you are saying. These are
the flat ones which you are seeing is the flat trajectory weapons, which are direct firing weapons, maybe MMGs and HMGs which are firing. That is the sound which is coming off. These are burst fires.
Right.
But otherwise, the flashes which you are seeing are essentially of what do you call? These are rockets being fired.
Rockets being fired. Okay, and the flashes are
basically motors,
exploding.
Motors as well, and these are the rockets and missiles which are exploding. They're all direct firing weapons which are happening.
Okay, well, viewers, this is big news coming through. Big news coming through of a potential escalation in this entire effort. We're about 2 minutes to 11 o'clock. We can confirm that both Lahore and Islamabad have received a tap from the Indian military. So this is a big escalation. Forces are on high alert. The Indian forces counter Pakistan firing even at Uri in Jammu and Kashmir. Pictures are coming from Uri also. Jammu, Jaisalmer, Akhnur, Pathankot Air Base all have seen action this evening, but all of it has been thwarted. God's been kind. And of course, the military has been high alert, very professional, and has been able to stop everything that the Pakistanis have thrown at us. General Sivach, your quick assessment of the situation that's unfolding.
You know, one thing is there, Rahul, the situation is fast developing. It was not anticipated that things will happen so very fast. No doubt about it, Pakistan is trying its all arsenal which is there with that. It is trying to now basically send number of drones. It start also doing firing, active firing, both on the line of control as well on the international border. You see, line of control firing is not very uncommon. It used to be common once upon a time before 2021. And once I commanded a brigade in Machal, I remember that it used to be usual, but not in international border. But now international border has also become very, very active. No, that is one thing. And second thing is that the area completely starting from, you can say from J&K down up till Gujarat, you find the activity taking place everywhere. So therefore, you can't be taking any chance. There's a blackout everywhere. The drones have been seen coming not only in Punjab or J&K, they have been also seen possibly in Rajasthan and also in Gujarat. So it is on high alert. But at the same time, one has to tell to a countryman what we are responding is far more than what Pakistan can, because there is a difference in what they have and what we have. And I don't think they can sustain for too long, because after all, if you have got a drones or you have got a missile, they cannot be endless. There is a quantum which is there available with you. But certainly one thing is there, we are more effective than them. Our air defense system is impregnable. This is a multi-layered. S-400 is one of the best in the world. whereas Pakistan H9, which they have taken from Chinese, is proved to be totally ineffective. We have neutralized the air defense system in Lahore. We are hitting them in Islamabad, Lahore, and also possibly in Rawalpindi also. So Pakistan is getting more beating, and they will feel the heat. If they want to escalate it on an escalation matrix, so it be. We are prepared for the worst case scenario. But my point is, I don't think Pakistan will able to sustain for too long. That is the take. I don't think they have in their arsenal limitless ammunition, both of missile as well as drones. It has a limit, but certainly as on today, one has to be very careful. Things are fast developing, and that is where it has surprised everyone. The way situation is unfolding today, it looks like that we have to be on a high alert.
Well, viewers, obviously this is a fast developing situation. 11 o'clock, we can tell you a few things. If I were to just quickly bring you up to date with everything that has been happening since about 8:30 this evening. Viewers, the top headline right now is that we can tell you that Indian forces are targeting Lahore and Islamabad. India hits the heart of Pakistan, Lahore and Islamabad. This is what we can tell you at the top of 11 o'clock in the evening. Massive escalation from the Indian side. We have decided to launch, in a manner of speaking, Operation Sindoor 3.0, because that would what constitutes this kind of an elevation. Also, viewers, since 8:30, there has been a lot of shelling, a lot of activity along the LOC, in areas such as Rajouri, in areas such as Uri, in Pathankot, pretty much a large part of Jammu. Srinagar also, they are saying, has been affected, all the way down to Jaisalmer. We are being told that there has been activity. However, Pakistani projectiles, about 12 of them, and missiles have been shot down by the S-400 air defense system. We also know that there have been no casualties, at least on the Indian side, because everything, drones and every other thing that the Pakistanis have thrown at us have been neutralized. I can't confirm other big news related to losses that the Pakistanis might have suffered, because we cannot at this moment confirm all of that, but it's a lot of talk about the Pakistanis having taken a big hit. So big news that has been developing. General Saab, this constitutes now a different phase in this entire action, doesn't it?
Yeah, so this is, as you started this thing by saying that 2 days we have succeeded in what we wanted to achieve. And I think this one of the minor offenses, I'll say, which has come about, we have again been able to thwart this thing, and those news which we are discussing and we are talking about, if it comes true, it will be a very, very big, again a very major event which will happen. We'll see how it unfolds and how it comes out. But what is looking as of now is something akin to a Star Wars fight which is on. A fight which will be, which will try and avoid boots on ground to cross line, and it will be from ceasefire violations to the duels, from small arms to artillery to missiles, and ranging up to drones and long range missiles. Something which we have seen in other parts of the country happening, and it's likely to continue in the similar manner for some time to come, till the time that threshold is crossed in terms of a major hit which will take place, in which the boots on ground will move. And that will be, for me as a military professional, I am telling you, like everybody will say that the day Pahalgam happened, it was declaration of war, but for me, the day the boots cross ground, that will be the time when a transition from a very low level conflict which is happening today will transform into a full-fledged war. And let's hope, if it happens, then it's bad news for Pakistan. Its demise is going to happen. If they are smart, they will avoid this situation to come about, and they will try and de-escalate as far as possible, because India has shown one thing, that from zero escalation we have got answers for each and every level of escalation which can be taken to the last end, right?
Okay.
So we are willing to escalate.
Yes, we are willing to escalate. Yeah. This is big news. Akash, Look, there are various reports that are now coming through, and there is, of course, an Airport Authority of India advisory that has been put out also for passengers travelling to come earlier to the airports, at least 3 hours in advance. But that's not really the reason why we're speaking to you, because we've got confirmation now and we can break this news report that an F-16 has been down. Amit Bhatt of News 18 Rajasthan has confirmed that an F-16 has been shot down. Now, very quickly, Akash, can you update us on this?
The report of F-16 is concerned, so I have no confirmation. But yes, you rightly pointed out, our colleague is confirming. I'm also learning about one individual, possibly the pilot, who has been apprehended and in fact, has been caught by the locals there. But Indian Air Force will go with the version of Indian Air Force, Rahul. Indian Air Force is just checking the truth in the whole case, in the entire matter. Whether or not the F-16 has been downed, it will of course be known to us in some time from now. But definitely, a number of things are happening simultaneously, Rahul, and operational details are something that we have been asked to hold for a while. Because as of now, Indian Army is retaliating. We know that how Indian Air Force, the air defense system is very much working, and they have been retaliating too. We know, and in fact, we are learning about several sort of developments that are happening at the line of control, where in Kupwara we are learning about specifically about the artillery fire and in fact the retaliation that is going on in the western front as well, in Punjab and Rajasthan. We have been learning about several sort of attempts from drone, but all of these attempts have been in fact thwarted, and F-16 is something that is coming from western front only, western border only. So we are waiting for an official confirmation for F-16, not just the plane, the downing of the plane, but also the pilot, because we have been learning that one individual who is possibly the pilot of one F-16 of Pakistan, has been apprehended and has been caught by the locals there.
Well, the MOD sources now seem to be confirming this, that F-16 downed by the Indian forces and that the pilot has been in fact apprehended. We're not going to tell you, viewers, where it is, because that's obviously sensitive. We don't want that pilot to be harmed in any way. Sometimes if we give away the destination or the location, Pakistan might want to try and neutralize and lose, and that will make us lose the advantage. So we're not going to give away the area, but General, what do you make of this? A significant change?
Yeah, so there's a one very major impact of this F-16 being down. It puts the proof out to the Americans that there was a deal which was signed sometime back by the Pakistanis that will not be used against their Western adversary ever. So this one lie is going to be proven absolutely correct if it is true. And the second lie which was shown by your channel today, that the terrorists were being given state honors led by a US designated terrorist. So these two combined with the tomorrow this IMF conference being held for Pakistan case makes our case very strong to put them into a corner. I think that's very important to take note of. And also with the changing, with the tap on, tap off thing which you're talking of, how will they make tea for their own country? I think the tea movement possibly will come through for us. Not a very good thing to talk as a soldier about a fellow soldier, but I guess I very clearly remember that colonel who was a defense attaché or a lower rung officer in British embassy coming out and waving that photograph of Vinandan and making that very silly extremist radical mindset gesture, a very disgusting gesture, which reflects even the selection of one of the best guys to go to represent the country. If it is so damaging, it is a reflection of mindset and how radicalized the military structure of Pakistan Army is.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is a very defining moment in case F-16 has come out.
I mean, this takes the advantage away completely from Pakistan. So, because this becomes really a bargaining chip. It really still our hands. If you remember, when Abhinandan fell into Pakistani hands, basically we had to de-escalate completely the entire focus of the operation, the direction of the war. And I know that various, and Group Captain, you'd probably bear me out on this, that I know that fatalities, casualties, these kind of exigencies are built into game scenarios. So I'm sure the level that we are at, it would take a little bit more for this to really take or have a decisive impact on Pakistan's strategies, but still it will begin to weigh on the strategic the strategic ecosystem in Pakistan when they are thinking of the next step. Also, before you comment on that, just a very quick one, PIB fact check putting out the fact that a Fidaiin attack on an army brigade in Rajouri, Jammu and Kashmir is fake news. So viewers don't fall for that. Yes, Group Captain, go ahead.
I'll just take a leaf from what General said about the tea movement and the fellow soldier thing. And it will not be a tea, it will be an Akunuri Kawa. Very, very famous Kawa that we get over there.
Yeah.
And we will probably export it and give it to the boy and look after him very well and send him off if time of the time and the place of our choosing. And as you're putting out a lot of images and videos, and images and videos talk for themselves. Rahul, I know you're a measured anchor who don't want to get ahead of yourself, but I want to, call spade a spade. Maybe today or tomorrow, mark my words, we will be on the outskirts of Lahore. I absolutely have no doubt about it. Being, the planner for so many years in the Air Force, I know how this is panning out.
Okay,
we are going to be there. And that is my message to my fellow countrymen.
Yes.
Be at it. We are going to get them.
Of course.
They will.
Look, all of us secretly might desire that, but as a professional, I'm not going to sort of underwrite that.
I'm being professional, Rahul. I'm absolutely.
No, that's your assessment, and I respect your assessment, sir, and your desire to perhaps even point the Indian establishment in a particular direction. So there's nothing wrong in what you're saying. Anshul is from Jalandhar. Great to see you back, Mr. Serene. Great to see you back. The news has dramatically turned since you've been off air. One, we are being told that an F-16 pilot has been captured. We are being told that he's out of harm's way. I'm not going to say where exactly this capture has taken place for obvious reasons. We're also being told very, very clearly that India has been able to target both Lahore and Islamabad. So your thoughts on that before I bring in Anshul from Jalandhar and Ishan from Srinagar. Yes. Sushant Serene.
Rahul, before I answer your question, just a word to what General Pandey was saying. And, I just want to caution all Indian Armed Forces officers. We live in this illusion that the kind of chivalry that the Indian Armed Forces practice, it's a similar kind of thing on the Pakistani side. It is not. They are a bunch of animals. You might meet them during your courses, during your postings, and they might try and act friendly with you because half the time they are ill-equipped to deal with anybody other than from somebody from the subcontinent because they can't relate to them. Their wives are not equipped for it, variety of reasons. So they try and latch on to an Indian for some kind of support. So please, sir, my sincere advice, they are a bunch of retards and animals, and I think we should treat them like that. I don't expect any chivalry from them. Now on Rahul, on the other stuff which you asked, look, frankly speaking, we are right now in the fog of war. I think there is some confirmation coming in that a pilot has been arrested, apprehended. And now, whether it is an F-16 or some other aircraft, I don't think any one of us is in a position to say what it is. But and the geography is also ranging from various places, so the various accounts coming from all over the place. But I suppose there would be some kernel of truth in the fact that somebody like this has been arrested. On the attacks on Lahore and Islamabad, I would wait for official confirmation or something much more solid before I was to say that whether we've actually launched those attacks or not. I would not be surprised if we have, because very clearly at various levels of the government, it has been made extremely clear that if the Pakistanis are going to up the ante, the Indians are not going to back down. We are going to retaliate, and depending on what the Pakistanis have tried to do, our reaction will be similarly, it will be calibrated accordingly and probably much more than what they've anticipated. So I think we are in that phase right now. It's up to the Pakistanis if they want to back off. Now, what are we hearing from the Pakistani? And many of these touts of the Pakistan army, people who edit newspapers out there and also act as stringers for New York Times and others, who are saying, no, actually we have not launched any attack on India. In Jammu and Kashmir, it is a false flag attack. Now these damn duffers, low IQ fellows, for them everything is either a Ra conspiracy or a false flag attack. So I don't expect anything sensible or intelligent to come from these bloody Pakistani lowlifes. Okay, but these journalists are trying to spread, no, we have not done anything. Now every time their attack fails, they say we haven't done anything, because now they know something is coming their way. If their attack had been successful, these bloody Punjabi Muslims would have been, beating their chest with pride. Oh, look, we showed these fellows, right? They are the bunch of cowards who used to have slogans of crush India behind their cars, and when India started moving towards Lahore, all those cars were rushing away to Rawalpindi to save their backsides. So that is what these bloody Pakistanis are, these Punjabi Muslims and their badak, which they always come up with. Okay, we will have some setbacks.
Okay,
right?
shots coming in from Jaisalmer. Look at these pictures. This audio. This is quite a.
To take out the. This is the response which is being to take out the drones which are coming.
Okay.
Or the missiles which are being launched.
Right.
You can see that. Incoming missiles,
incoming drones, or whatever the Pakistanis are throwing at us by the way of offensive capacities, and these are our air defense retaliation.
The ones which came from below are the ones retaliation.
I see.
And you can see they are taking them out. It's quite clearly a masked kind of an attack which is coming on to Jaisalmer. It's a very, very aptly explained.
Okay.
There you go.
Dramatic visuals of the Indian response, viewers, to what is the incoming from Pakistan, clearly. Sushant Sareen, yes, you were talking at length really about the Pakistani posture, but just for a moment indulge us. If it is true that a Pakistani pilot has been captured, doesn't that sort of dramatically shift this entire focus then of the response, the Pakistani strategy, etc.?
It will definitely, deal a big blow to their ego, especially when we have footage of giving them tea, because these lowlifes have been trying to insult an armed forces officer from the Indian side for 5 years by saying that, okay, fine, we've got tea ready. So my question is, I wish our tea is also ready, and it's original tea. It's not imported from Kenya or some other place, from some third country. It's our tea which we are going to shove down his bloody throat and take pictures with it and carry out that same thing which they've done. Because I don't believe in acting in a chivalrous way with barbarians. You should treat with them the same way they treat other people. So I am very clear in my mind that, jaise ko taisi. I don't believe that, we should rise above all that the wokes can do. I am afraid I'm not in that business anymore. But I think it certainly deals, and if it's an F-16, then of course it's a very serious blow to their ego, and it tells you a lot about the kind of air defense systems that are working. But Rahul, I think it's important that we also say to our people that look, if we are entering into this phase, there will be cases where these Pakistanis will launch certain missiles which will come into India, which might escape the air defense systems, and there will be damage and there will be loss in India. And we should, show that we are a bloody resolute nation, that we will not let any setback pull us down. Bloody hell, you send one missile out here, I'll send 10 and I'm going to beat the shit out of you, Bhagat.
Okay, well. Okay, let's very quickly.
In the last 40 years, and I refuse to stand for it anymore.
Okay.
Enough is enough.
Okay. Okay, one second. There is a walkthrough from Jaisalmer. Very brave walkthrough by a journalist, Bhavani. Let's hear this.
आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से ये देखिए कि यहाँ जो जिस तरीके से नजर आ रहे हैं यहाँ पर ये जैसलमेर के आसमान में आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से शायद ये ड्रोन हो सकते हैं। आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से ये जैसलमेर में आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से यहाँ पर लगता है शायद ड्रोन है, ये ड्रोन अटैक की कोशिश है, ऐसा लग रहा है, कहीं न कहीं लग रहा है। जिस तरीके से धमाके हो रहे हैं यहाँ पर, ये तस्वीरें अपने आप में न्यूज 18 इंडिया के कैमरे से देखिएगा आप किस तरीके से लगातार एक के बाद एक ये देखिए कि
ये जैसलमेर में शायद लगता है
लगातार
फायरिंग हो रही है।
देखिए कि ये गन शॉट फायरिंग है। आप देखिए कि
reaction to these visuals.
So there are just two parts which have to be taken note of. One is this issue, which is the sound which is coming out. Essentially, the sound of the flying system which is coming across to hit will not be heard in that manner. But the people who get worried, and the question which you had asked me last time again, is the response which goes out. So there will be a loud noise when you're firing the system. The second noise will come when the system blows up in the air and destroys the coming munition or a drone or a missile system. The second is very clearly from the visual which you can see that the lights are lit up. My message through your channel to everybody is that the times are not very apt for people not to listen to the advisory which is coming from the government. In the night you need to take care, especially if you are around military bases, along places where airports are there, air force bases are there, military installations are there. For the purpose of your own good and also for the good of the military installations which are in a proximity, is important to follow the instructions which are being given by the government by the local government and administration till the time this issue lasts. I just thought I'll give this message.
No, this is very important. But just quickly describe these pictures as captured by our reporter, as well as the other picture that we just saw from Jaisalmer.
You just saw two things happening. You saw red lights which are flashing. They were possibly the swarm drones kind of thing which are coming for hitting the Air Force base which is in the proximity of Jaisalmer. And the response which you saw, which was emanating from the ground, was the anti-missile system, anti-drone system which were going up in the air and destroying through proximity fuses. And you saw very clearly, you can now see one of the response coming up in the air on the screen to take out what is an incoming munition to hit the targets.
Okay. Viewers, also of course, very quickly the MOD has put out a statement. As I said, military stations at Jammu, Pathankot, Adampur were targeted by Pakistani origin drones, and of course in Jaisalmer, another sector. Now, General Sahab, where would the Pakistanis have been targeting Jaisalmer from?
Yeah.
Could you explain it to our, would it have to be from a sector opposite Jaisalmer on their side of the border, or could it be from somewhere else?
So they will be having drone systems and the munition systems which can be launched quite from the depth, because Jaisalmer itself, if I am not wrong, is about 50 odd kilometers from the IB, and even if they are launching from about 50 kilometers inside, they will have they've got systems which can reach out these distances and try and hit the Jaisalmer airport. The second option is that they could have these systems can also be launched by airplanes, fighter aircraft from the aircrafts which can be flying in the proximity of IB, well within their own sectors. But in case we are listening to this thing of F-16 having been downed, that means they must have come slightly more closer to the international border, and therefore they have been downed. I must also tell you, the moment such a thing happens, the relevance of IB goes off, right? So it's a very tricky time for the Pakistanis when they have crossed and violated the IB like this.
A group captain. Yes, you wanted to make a point. Yeah.
Yeah, quickly. I've served in this area for a long time, Rahul. No rockets or artillery shells can reach Jaisalmer. Jaisalmer is quite deep inside. No, to me, it appears that it is an air-launched versions of some kind of weapon. Like you correctly said, aeroplanes have breached the border and come inside. Or day before, like we were sitting in the morning, all three of you, and I was mentioning about the aeroplane coming from Turkey. It could even be that Bayraktar kind of a drone which has that kind of range, 100, 200, 300 kilometers of range, and that can be launched from the Raimia Khan, that area, the north of Jaisalmer area. So these are the two vectors that can reach Jaisalmer. There is the surface-to-surface integrated vector reaching Jaisalmer is an impossibility. They do not possess that much in the number that we are seeing, firstly. Secondly, very important for the viewers to understand, these red lines that you're seeing going across the sky is your defense system. So if there is one target that is coming in, you will see thousands of them going towards that one target. It could well be just one drone that is coming in, and you're trying to take it out using the close-in weapon systems and other RACAC guns, which is placed all across the air bases. So don't get alarmed. That is my point. It could just be one rogue drone which we are trying to take out. Over to you.
Okay, we're hearing all sorts of news now, viewers, of the Indian retaliation across into Pakistan. There has been big news, and I'm not going to put it out there, but it could be that we've made some significant dents in the Pakistani scheme of things. And I want to bring in General Rajinder Singh on this. General, if you're there, if you could just put your mind to the events from 8:30 and the news that we have done a lot of damage. I'm not going to specify what kind of damage on the Pakistani side of the fence. I will confirm that an F-16 has been downed and the pilot is, however, in our custody. That much I can say, but there's a lot more that I'm not in a position to put on air, but I will tell you, viewers, that there has been considerable degradation on the other side of the border. General. I think you're on mute, sir. If you could just unmute yourself. Yeah, there you go. That's right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me
Yes,
properly?
I can. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ever since Pakistan made the mistake of trying to strike some of our military stations and the Air Force stations, I think they were under the impression that we are going to keep quiet, which did not happen. Our forces were ready. They had already contingency plans which had been made, and they struck them very hard. Now, Pakistan still did not. It seems that they were still not satisfied, and they tried to strike us again tonight, early at night, and this was retaliated straight away by us. And I think it has been a fairly good thing what we have been able to do. What I have been able to understand or get is that we have struck in almost all places where the major formations are. That is like in Sialkot, in Bhavalpur, in Lahore, and further down south as well. Pakistan, if it was under the impression that it could launch a foray into our territory and then tell its masses that yes, it has achieved a major victory, I think he was very sadly mistaken. We have our contingencies plans ready. Our diplomats, our external affairs minister has already talked to a large number of world leaders, and I think we also have, to a fairly large degree, a fairly favorable world opinion with us. And we are well within our right not only to defend our integrity, but to take whatever measures that we feel are essential so that Pakistan doesn't have or doesn't ever dare to do the kind of thing which it did while sponsoring the terrorist activities in Pahalgam.
Well, at exactly half past 11
Rahul
viewers.
Coffee in Lahore.
Yes, okay, 1 second. Just stay on with me. Half past 11 viewers, some top 3 or 4 headlines, and then I'm going to go straight across to our reporters. Forces struck Lahore, Rawalpindi and Islamabad. Viewers, this is getting bigger. Now more news is trickling out of the Indian response. We're also being told that an F-16 was down, possibly more craft of Pakistan, other munitions, ADS systems have been degraded. There is a lot of news which I'm not going to put out. I'm going to hold back because I'm waiting for absolute confirmation from at least 3 sources. 2 sources have told us all attempts by Pakistan to hit India at various different places in Jammu, in Kashmir, in Rajasthan have been thwarted. There is no news of any damage because our S-4 systems, our air defense systems have held up remarkably. The MOD has even put out a statement to confirm this. Let's quickly get our reporters into this from Jalandhar. We also have Siddhant from New Delhi, Akash from Srinagar, and also Ishan from Srinagar. Let's just go out to all of them and get a sense. Anshu, let me begin with you first. Jalandhar in the news this evening, very early on. What's the scene on the ground there?
Well, yes, right when this entire attack was started by Pakistan, at that point in time, there was Jalandhar was one of the centers where several projectiles were launched, and at that point in time, the air defense systems of the Indian Defence Forces actually came to the fore and made sure that not even a single projectile was able to land anywhere in Jalandhar. And now over here, I'll just try and show you in the frame right behind me, a blackout has already been announced, and now people are sleeping absolutely peacefully. Unlike Pakistan, where the common people are actually running from pillar to post to get some sort of a help either from their army or from the local police. But yes, over here, out here in Jalandhar, everything is absolutely peaceful. People are sleeping absolutely peacefully. Blackout has been announced till 4 a.m. tomorrow. These blackouts will be put up as precautionary measures. One thing is very sure, that the entire nation is at this point in time very confident on their armed forces, and that is why we are seeing such peace that is prevailing out here after initial attempts that were made by Pakistan to somewhere or the other hurt Jalandhar by throwing projectiles, by launching projectiles towards Jalandhar. But yes, Defence Forces have actually gone ahead and made sure that each and every projectile that was thrown over here, that was actually thwarted in midair itself, and hence there has been absolutely no loss to life and property till now, especially in this district of Jalandhar.
Well, top government sources telling us that Indian attack in Rawalpindi, Islamabad, Lahore by loitering ammunition and major explosions have been reported. So clearly, this has been an escalation of dramatic proportions. Siddhant also there with us. Akash, if you can update us, some projectiles successfully intercepted mid-air near Jammu airport. Great job by our armed forces. This is being put out by Jammu police. Always with you is the logo. Please avoid live coverage. It serves the objective of adversary. Please follow directions of police and local administration. Akash, quickly update us on all these news developments that are coming through now.
Starting from 8 p.m., we have seen a number of developments, Rahul. It started with Jammu airport, where not just Jammu airport, but several, the areas with the civilian population were targeted. And in fact, we have been learning that all these targets were all these drones and missiles were destroyed by the air defense systems. In fact, the AD guns. Then we heard about the firing at the international border. In fact, the ceasefire violation in Samba, in Mendhar, and in some other areas as well. We heard of several sort of attacks, and in fact, multiple theaters were opened by Pakistan. Where in the western front we have Punjab, in different places in Punjab, then in Rajasthan as well. In fact, till now we are in fact learning that how one jet of Pakistani Air Force, possibly one F-16, we are waiting for the confirmation on that, is downed by the forces there in Rajasthan. Also about one pilot, for which we are waiting for a confirmation from Indian Air Force. Indian Army at this point in time is retaliating. In fact, loitering munition is something that is very much in picture from the beginning of Operation Sindoor, and we have seen that in the morning today also. Several locations were hit in Pakistan. And even now we have been learning about several sort of locations. Of course, we cannot, give out several sort of details because of operational limitations. But then, we are in fact waiting for some sort of confirmation from the armed forces as well. In fact, IDS tweeted that how, there were several sort of attempts on different military infrastructure, and all these attempts have been thwarted. We have been using our MRSAMs, Akash air missiles, and in fact Akash air defense systems, and in fact S-400. Indian Army is also using this system, and Air Force is also using this system. As far as air defense is concerned, so we know the responsibility is with the Indian Air Force. But then when it is about the military infrastructure and the tactical places, so Indian Army is very much capable of dealing with any sort of air threats, and this is what is happening. Akash is working for both Indian Air Force and Indian Army. As of now at the borders, there is no infantry movement, we can confirm that. There is no tank movement, we can confirm that. But yes, Indian Army is retaliating not just to the ceasefire violation that is happening at the ALC and the international border. In fact, we have got confirmation of the ceasefire violation at around 11:30, just 6 minutes back in the Kupwara sector. Where Indian Army is retaliating, and Indian international border is peaceful till now. But yes, multiple theatres have been opened, and Pakistan is basically trying to attack India from these theatres. Western borders are impacted, and the northern borders are impacted.
Okay, Tejinder Singh is filing reports to suggest that Samba heavy shelling going on from both sides in the Samba sector. So there's more news there. Keri sector of Rajouri district, heavy shelling going on there. As Akash was telling us that there is a large number of theatres that have opened up along the LOC and the IB. Some projectiles successfully intercepted mid-air near Jammu airport. So this has been now confirmed that there has been no damage to Jammu airport. Ishan Vani there with us and also Siddhant. Ishan Vani, give us a quick update really on what's going on.
Well, it's completely dark out in Kashmir and people are a little in a panic, but there's no need to worry. There hasn't been any breach of any sort so far in Srinagar, which was expected to happen, but air defense system is there to protect everyone. But what we have been given to understand is that the line of control is lit right now. There are rockets, there are artillery, there are other kind of equipment that is being used by the Pakistan to target not only the Indian Army post, but there are also certain projectiles and certain rockets which have landed in the civilian population. What we also know so far is that the state of alertness has been increased. The ambulances have been mobilized. The forces are on alert, be it in near the airbase, be it in other parts of Kashmir Valley. The maximum alertness is being seen on the ground. Look, we don't want to give out any operational details, but for now, the schools have been closed till 10th, and the advisories have been issued out to several hospitals, several departments to ensure that there is readiness among them if case of it further spreads to some areas. But as far as Srinagar is concerned, it's completely dark. But yes, there is no breach, there is no drone, or there is no projectile or a rocket which has been fired towards Srinagar or any defense establishment so far. But there is a state of alertness. But we have been given to understand that Srinagar airport is right now, because it's also a defense airport, it is right now on a state of high alert, and ensured what the forces are ensuring is that they don't let anything come near to this particular location. And other air bases are also on a high alert. We are also seeing blackout in Leh also. So in Ladakh also there is blackout. Remember, there were also drills being carried out in Ladakh as well. So it's all not only Jammu and Kashmir but also in the Ladakh UT that there's a state of alertness among the forces, among the administration. And what we have been also told by our sources is that the army is giving a befitting reply, be it in Tangdar, be it in Keran, be it in Uri sector. They are fighting and hitting back at the Pakistani positions located in these areas. It started from Tangdar and then Keran, and now it has also gone towards the Uri side, where multiple visuals are now emerging. Yes. And the fire service, the ambulances have been kept available there to ensure that if in case there is any injuries which are very deadly, so they are taken out from the harm's way as soon as possible. There are families which have already been relocated, and there's a possibility of more families being relocated from these border areas.
Well, that was very comprehensive, Ishan and Akash. Stay on with me. I just want to quickly get some of our opinions of some of our panelists on this very quickly. Tara Katara is there with us. Tara Karta, please give us a quick overview of what you've made of all these inputs that we've been breaking here, the situation as it stands right now at about 11:45 or about 20 to 12, 20 to midnight.
Rahul, I can't believe what is happening. I mean, this for us, in my 20 years I've dealt with Pakistan, this is unprecedented. This is not how we gamed it, put it that way. So I'm unable to understand what factor is working here to make them go on the offensive when they know that this escalating ladder is going on, where each statement we've put down, we are saying we will do this much and no more. We will do this much and no more. And an opening is given for them to stand down. They are not taking it. I'm very mystified because I'm wondering what else is at play here. So I'm talking of the actual fog of war. You have to be very careful when you go into a situation where you can't see all the actors. This has never happened before. By all accounts, at least 2 days ago, the Shahbaz Sharif should have been ringing up Washington and saying, please help us stop this war. That has not happened. They have not reached out. The only thing which they have reported is that the NSAs are talking. I don't know if it's true.
Well, that has been denied. The NSAs, the conversations between the NSAs that was reported by an international channel quoting a Pakistani top minister has been denied by the by Mr. Misri this afternoon at around 5 o'clock. So when he held the press conference, he said no conversation in my mind, my knowledge has taken place. So he's completely denied that. It's clear. It's clear that the General Munir doesn't believe that if he walks away from this, he will survive in office, because you've seen the anger on the streets of Pakistan. General Pandey, he has no choice really, and I want to hear the others also, General Rajinder Singh as well as the group captain, but first to you, sir.
This is something I've said on your channel, that General Munir is in danger.
Exactly.
Either he thinks this or he goes to jail.
So we are not giving him a face saver. We might give Pakistan a face saver, but not him, and that's pretty clear. Islamabad, Rawalpindi, Lahore, look at the theatre of action, viewers. These are three of the most iconic, the only cities that really matter. Karachi is the only other one out of that matrix. But Lahore is the political, is the cultural beating heart of Pakistan. I mean, it is the city that gave birth to the idea of Pakistan. Let's be honest about that. Islamabad is a new creation, it's an administrative capital. Rawalpindi is the military capital of Pakistan, and then of course you have the business capital, so to speak, in a loose term, Karachi. But General Pandey, this is a complete different scenario now. This is a point of inflection.
So as I'll again repeat, the Pak behavior today is controlled by a radical leader, right? A radical leader whose ego is at stake, whose survival is at stake, and in case there's any step down, any visual, visible, even a perception comes out in the mind of the Pakistani population, which in any case is not very happy with Pakistan Army. The Pakistani Army knows their survival is at stake, right? And therefore, this radical leader, in fact, on the day one, when I came on the channel, I talked of Asim Munir and not as a chief of army staff. He is radical and he's going to take his country apart because he doesn't know any other way. If you go through his background, it's very important to know your enemy when you are dealing with a country, the leadership of the country. This person is the topper of his batch. He is madrasa trained. He has joined army during the training time of Ziaul Haq. He is total into a radical system, comes from a family which is of a very different nature. He is not from the elitist environment. His parents have moved from Jalandhar, technically treated outsider at that place. He has survived to reach where he has reached, right? By trying to prove that he is exceptionally good and different from possibly everybody who belonged to originally from Pakistan. And therefore, having reached there, having put IK Imran Khan behind bars, he is a person who needs to survive. Now it comes about resilience, and I think very aptly Brahma had brought about is about political will. Who will stand longer? The more we draw out this, the possibility of Asim Munir being taken out internally starts becoming much more. And the more rapidly we try and wrap up, his stature is going to come up higher.
Okay, just there's an announcement being made at India Gate. Let's just try to get the audio on that. Yes.
हेलो भाई साहब, चलिए चलते रहो, पार्टी अभी खड़े नहीं आएगा, चलिए चलिए आगे भी चलिए। हेलो आ रही है।
Okay, so obviously people are being told to keep order there. I don't think this is any order, this is any directive to sort of clear out of this particular place, but just keep the traffic flowing. No gaping, just traffic management. I just hope that is exactly what we just saw. Very quickly, I want to bring in Sushant Sareen and the group captain here. Sushant Sareen, quick assessment now of what you're making of the present situation.
Look, like I said earlier, right now we don't know exactly what is transpiring.
Yeah.
Where the attacks are taking place from the Indian side, what, if any, has been any damage. There are conflicting reports coming. In fact, these reports are actually confirmed by many sources that there is one pilot arrested in Jaisalmer and another one up north in the Pathankot sector, Aknoor probably. But again, we haven't seen any visuals. We can't really confirm it. Even on the attacks on Lahore, Islamabad, Rawalpindi, not confirmed as yet, because I'll wait till official guys say something. But I think it's very clear the Indian side is going to hit back, definitely. And the Pakistanis seem to be quaking in their feet simply because they are now denying that we have done anything. We have not done anything. These are false flag attacks that the Indians are probably going into Pakistan and then launching attack on themselves and then saying that, you know, the Pakistanis are launching attacks on us. They're that ridiculous, these bloody Pakistanis, right? So, and obviously because they've not been able to make any breakthrough, they are now, I think, bracing themselves for whatever will come from our. Now, the question is, what is the level of retaliation we do? Do we up the ante? Or do we do
so hang on. When you're talking about upping the ante, news coming in that India has dropped a drone near the Sharif family home in Raiwind. This is big news if this is indeed the case. The Sharifs getting the wind up their backside really. This is a game-changing move symbolically. Put it in perspective for us, Sushant Sareen. You know Pakistan like the back of your hand. This is a game changer if this is true, of course.
Raiwind is a place which is virtually on the outskirts of Lahore. It's like Shahadra is to Delhi, or Sahibabad is to Delhi. It's like that. It's almost like Muridke, right? It's a little closer, but it's almost like that. And the Sharifs have a big estate out there, palatial houses from ill-gotten wealth, which they have built out there. And the entire family stays out there. Nawaz Sharif stays out there. And if we are dropping a bomb near their estate, then it clearly is a kind of a signal, okay, boss, all of you guys who have been living in your palaces, if you think all of these places are going to be safe, no longer, everything is in the crosshairs, everything is going to be targeted. So I would imagine that is one of the messages being given. But like I said, so what is the level at which we are going to retaliate? There are various reports. Like I said, Rahul, we can't confirm anything right now. There are some reports that the Navy has attacked Karachi. There are some reports. So all kinds of stuff is coming out. And none of it is confirmed. But I would imagine that if we are going to start firing some missile systems at high value military targets in Pakistan, then of course that shows that we are scaling it up. We are not backing down. Forget backing down. Forget proportionality. We are now scaling it up. So bring what you can.
Group captain wanted to have chai in Lahore. Group captain, you want to come in on this?
See, I'll tell you, Rahul, and with utmost humility, I say this. I have the advantage of doing some kind of a crystal gazing because I mean most part of my life I have done only planning of such operations of such nature, including Balakot. So with that as the background, I have the sitting on your show, looking at what is going on to see where I will be tomorrow morning or day after morning, having Lahori Chana Chaat or something, or in Raiwind swimming in the swimming pool of Nawaz Sharif's estate. And I believe he has a huge medical center as well. So probably that is where he will be, hopefully. But jokes apart, selection and maintenance of aim, like I've been saying, we have selected an aim, we have maintained that aim, and I think we are going for that aim. And I'll stick my neck out and say this: our aim looks like, and it is achievable aim in short term. Looks like is Lahore. We can do QPQ. Even if we reach outskirts of Lahore, we can do QPQ. And with these pilots on our side, another QPQ of telling them to come down from their high horses and talk peace. That is something can be achieved in a couple of days. So all that has happened while we started this show and while we are going to wrap up this show is going to determine what will have to happen tomorrow, day after, or the day after.
Wow, we're
if all of
not
this
going
is
to wrap up the show, that's for sure, because the show...
Just one sentence.
Yeah.
Just one sentence. I'm really wondering where the Pakistani elite, how the Pakistani elite is going to run away from Pakistan, because they've closed their airspace. Normally, they keep their airspace open till all these fellows and their begums and their multitude of children have run away from the country. तो अब ये कहाँ जाएंगे बेचारे? इनको तो झेलना पड़ेगा. They have to face the brunt of India.
Well, look, as I said, it is easy right now to, of course, let emotions flow because of the news that is coming in. But obviously, all of this is subject to confirmation. What exactly happened? We'll have to wait for another. As Vikram Misri says, I'll be speaking to you again. That's what he said. So hopefully, we'll be hearing from them. But General, let me bring you in, General Singh. And of course, General Pandey is also here. General Singh, now there is a fair idea of what India is also doing. So we've just had information from 8:30 till about 10:30, quarter to 11 about what the Pakistanis have been doing on Indian soil. But now we're getting inklings of what the Indian response has been and the shape of it. How do you respond to the news that is being filtered through?
Rahul, I think this kind of a response was very much expected. This was expected from one of the most professional air force and the armies of the world. This was expected from one of the finest national leadership that our country has. And I think given these kind of background, there was nothing else that one could have accepted or expected but to see that India will respond firmly, it will respond forcefully, and it would do a thing which would act as a deterrence for future generations of Pakistan. And I think the day is not very far when our friend, this jihadi journal of Pakistan, is going to give up. He has to give up because he cannot sustain his army. There is hardly any ammunition which is there with them. Their economy is down in the drain. And given all this, the kind of problems that he has within his country itself, and coupled with it, the pressure which the Indian armed forces are going to bring to bear on him, I think his days are numbered. That is what I feel very, very strongly.
General Pandey, yes.
So I'll just very quickly say one point, sir, that the moment we start calling him Jihadi General, there is a certain degree of respectability which goes out to a community which believes in jihad as a very pious thing. I think to call him a radical may be more appropriate, and maybe call him a terrorist leader.
Obscurantist, revanchist, somebody who is completely lost in his head because he's a megalomaniac. Okay,
so there is one
just
part.
before
Second part I just want to say is that let's not get ahead of us.
That's
because it is not even a fraction of force, kinetic force which has been applied. It is not even a blip, right? When the military machinery starts moving up, that is the time it will be only yet less than a fraction, less than a 1% of movement.
So right now you're saying we're just sending feelers out, and we're telling these Pakistanis that look, don't think you're sitting in some ivory tower, safe from it all. We can touch you anytime.
But the second thing what is happening is this is a strategic signaling which is happening from either side.
Yes.
That okay, you touch here. It's It's a gameplay as of now which is happening.
So we've just taken,
yeah.
we've taken it to 3.0 basically, Operation Sindoor.
Yeah. And these are signaling not only to the respective constituencies, but is also happening to the world at large. That you need to
just
come
quickly,
in at some point of
viewers,
time.
before I quickly hand it over to my colleague Zaka, I just want to quickly sum up what we've talked about over the last 3 hours. And it started at 8:30, viewers, with news, Zaka, of strikes on your show along the LOC in Jammu as well as in Kashmir. And then, of course, news built up to tell us that most of the border was hot. We've got news of a potential F-16 being downed. We can't confirm what has happened to the pilot, but we can definitely confirm that an F-16 has been downed. We know that Islamabad, we know that Lahore, and we also know that Rawalpindi have been tickled. We know that ammunitions have been dropped by the residents, the historic residents, the family home of the Sharif family, which sends out a massive signal. And we also know, viewers, that there has been degradation of quite a few capacities across the border in Pakistan. We also know that the Indian ADS, the Indian aerial defense systems, have been impregnable. We haven't had any losses, and this is because the MOD has come out and confirmed that. So, Zaka, this is going to be a long night, but it's going to be an interesting one.
Oh, it certainly is going to be a long night, no doubt about it. Interesting for sure, but it is also a night of growing concern, both here in Delhi as well as in Islamabad. There's been basically drone warfare. That's what you've seen over the last 3 or 4 hours. It started about 8:30 or so in the evening. The first set of drones were spotted over the skies in Jammu, and then slowly over the next hour, couple of hours, it started spreading all across the Western Front, from Jalandhar to Jaisalmer, across Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab. Multiple reports of drone swarms being spotted and thwarted by multiple air defense systems. There is the indigenous air defense system which India has developed and built, the Akash, and there is of course the Russian-made S-400 air defense system. So the good news is not one of these drone attacks have resulted in any kind of casualty or fatality up until now. All of it has been thwarted by India's very robust air defense system, from Jaisalmer to Jodhpur all the way up to Jalandhar and Jammu. So the silver lining, as it were, is that all of these swarms of drones have been thwarted very successfully, I might add, by the Indian air defense system, both the indigenous one as well as the S-400, the Russian-made one. In response, India has sent loitering munitions, and it has left damage on the ground, is what we are given to understand, in at least 3 major Pakistani cities: in Lahore, which is the Punjabi heart of Pakistan, in Islamabad, which is the political capital, and in Rawalpindi, which is the military capital. The general headquarters is based in Rawalpindi. In all 3 of these sprawling urban centers, loitering munitions were sent by India. It has landed, some of it has penetrated through Pakistani air defense. It has caused explosions there, and as a result, there is some damage. What form, what nature, what scale of that damage is, we don't know. We don't have assessment of what's happened on the ground, but certainly loud explosions were heard in all 3 cities thanks to these loitering munitions. I want to first bring our viewers up to speed with all our reporters who are at different points across this western border. Ishan Vani is joining us from Srinagar. Anshul is joining us from Jalandhar. Akash will be also joining us from Srinagar, and Siddhant is there here in Delhi. But first, I want to come across to you, Ishan. So have the anti-drone warfare, the anti-drone sort of attacks that were happening, the thwarting through the air defense systems in Srinagar and surrounding areas, has that now come to a conclusion? Also give us an update about what was happening along the line of control. There were reports of heavy artillery shelling all across the LOC over the last few hours. What is the reading and what is the situation there as well?
Well, Zaka, in Jammu, it has started to slowly come down, and certain areas have also now started to get electricity back. It was completely dark there, and still dark in Kashmir right at the moment. And what we also know is that there hasn't been any immediate drone interception or any projectile or any artillery being fired towards Srinagar, towards airport, or any other location that we can confirm to you right now that there hasn't been any direct assault at the moment in Srinagar, because Srinagar airport is also a defense airport, so we can confirm to you that there hasn't been any drone attack at the Srinagar airport, but it's running on full alertness. There is air defense system and batteries are fully charged and they are ready to deal with any eventuality. There are other bases also which we do not want to disclose where readiness is complete, and also other defense establishments there is complete dark out, and people are ensuring that the lights are closed and the security is paramount right now. But in the border areas, we are being told by sources who are on the ground that there is heavy artillery being used to target Indian positions, and some shells have also landed in the residential areas, particularly in those areas which are vulnerable, which have kind of come under ceasefire violation from the Pakistan in the past as well. We have been told that in several areas of Bonyar, Uri, there is massive shelling that is taking place which they haven't seen even in the previous day when for the first time Pakistan used their artillery. But the Indian side is also responding befittingly. In Kupwara there were sirens. It's a different side with a frontier district of Kashmir where also there were sirens used by the defense forces, but there were also artillery being used there and small exchange also taking place. So the line of control in Kashmir is lit. The areas like Poonch, Rajouri is also witnessing ceasefire violation take place. The authorities are trying to ensure that they tell people do not panic, do not panic buy, stay indoors, keep your curtains down, and do not turn on much light inside your houses. And
all right,
that's how the situation
just
is.
give me one moment because we're getting that breaking news. It's flashing across your screens as well. The Saudi foreign minister is likely to visit Islamabad tomorrow. Remember, the deputy foreign minister of Saudi Arabia was in Delhi. He met with Dr. Jaishankar today. So the Saudis are beginning to play a bit of a mediatory role, if you may, in trying to de-escalate the situation. They are, of course, one of the few countries that have leverage and significant leverage, certainly with Pakistan and significant leverage here with India as well. Like I said, India's attempt after and during and after Operation Sindoor was not to escalate. The escalation, of course, happened with the Pakistanis deciding to send these swarms of drones. They did this last night and they're doing this tonight as well. India, of course, effectively responding with its air defense systems. But the question now is, who pulls this situation back from the brink? Back in the Kargil war, it was the Americans, it was the then US President Bill Clinton. This time, Donald Trump taking a very evasive position and almost both sides kind of a position. He's just saying we hope it quickly resolves, but not really bringing pressure to bear on Pakistan. The Saudis, what role are they playing? Let me go across to Siddhant, who's joining us with those details. So today the Deputy Foreign Minister of Saudi is in Delhi. Tomorrow the Foreign Minister of Saudi is in Islamabad. Are they now beginning to play some kind of a mediatory role to try and de-escalate the situation, Siddhant?
Well, Zaka, that's right. In fact, today Saudi Deputy Foreign Minister was in the national capital. Perhaps it was a surprise visit. In fact, this visit was not announced by Ministry of External Affairs. And in fact, he met EM S. Jaishankar. Then later, his convoy was spotted outside 7 LKM, that is Prime Minister Modi's residence. And in fact, the chatter is that he in fact met Prime Minister Modi. Perhaps the photo has not been released by the either side. And he is also being seen as an envoy to the Crown Prince. Perhaps the Saudi government has sent him for the mediation purpose. And as you rightly said, that Saudi Arabia certainly has leverage with Pakistan and with India. And in fact, when Pahalgam attack happened, Zaka, at that point in time, Prime Minister Modi was in Jeddah on a state visit, and in a joint statement, very strong worded condemnation came from both the countries as far as Pahalgam attack is concerned. And in fact, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman did extend full support to India at that point in time. So this time around, Zaka, these traditional West Asian countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, perhaps have come up with a very balanced statements. In fact, in their initial statements, they have extended full support to India. In fact, ahead of Operation Sindoor, Prime Minister Modi did speak to the Emir of Qatar. And in fact, after the operation, NSA Dowell briefed NSAs of UK, US, Saudi Arabia, France, and perhaps the other countries. So we could expect, perhaps this is what the chatter is, that the Saudi Deputy Foreign Minister could head to Islamabad right after concluding his India visit. In fact, the chatter also tells me, Zaka, that he was carrying a message for the Indian government, and perhaps he will also be carrying message to the Islamabad. Now, whose message is that? Is he directly representing the Saudi Arabian government, or perhaps is he on the behalf of some other government? We really don't know. But one thing is for sure, that since Saudi Arabia certainly has leverage with both the countries, perhaps Saudi Arabia can mediate between the two countries.
All right, thanks for that, Siddhant. I also want to get a quick word in from Anshul as well as Akash. Anshul is in Jalandhar, where for the last few hours there was a complete blackout. I believe in other parts of Punjab, from Chandigarh and other parts, lights are getting switched on now. What are you seeing and hearing around you, Anshul?
Well, yes, even at this point in time, I'll ask my video journalist Sumit Jaguri to show you in the visuals over here. There is an absolute blackout that has still been maintained over here, because remember, projectiles were actually launched towards Jalandhar at approximately 8:30 p.m. In the evening, but all these projectiles were actually handled by the air defense systems of our country, and not even a single projectile was able to land anywhere out here in Jalandhar. But as precautionary measure, a district which is very close to the borders, and hence this precautionary measure has been taken, that till 4 a.m. tomorrow morning these blackouts will continue out here in Jalandhar. But the situation is absolutely peaceful over here. There is an absolute sense of calm, absolutely no panic that can be sensed over here in Jalandhar. Definitely this shows the kind of confidence that the people of this country have on their armed forces, and how they will make sure that each and every inch, each and every person, each and every life is protected by our armed forces.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I also want to get a quick word in from Akash. Akash, there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of, wrong information that's flying around on social media. And I want to reiterate to our viewers that we are sticking to responsible reporting. There's been a lot of fake news that's been doing the rounds over the last few hours. At this time, what we need is calm. What we need is a degree of surety. What we need is a steady hand. What we need to tell our fellow countrymen and women is that, look, these are part of your normal war games. I think it's incredible that despite these swarms of drones across most western border cities and towns, not one has caused any major fatality or casualty. The air defense systems, both indigenous and foreign, are extremely working well. And I think that is important to underline. But Akash, what is the latest? What are top defense sources telling you? Ultimately, I mean, we are climbing up the escalation ladder. The question is, we're going with each passing day, one rung up, one rung up. Where is the off-ramp? What are the negotiations happening right now? Or are we still in the escalatory phase, not talking about any kind of off-ramp just yet?
Right. So, Zaka, first of all, two things that I want to make very clear. Armored vehicle and also the infantry is not being used yet. And, in fact, the sources are very clear that no tank is moving, or no soldier is moving forward, at least till now. Also, army is retaliating. Yes, army is retaliating. We have got several locations. But again, we are waiting for some sort of confirmation, and that's why we are not putting out, in fact, the locations within Pakistan where Indian Army has hit, and in fact, the Indian Armed Forces have hit. Zaka, multiple, places where they tried attacking the military establishment and also the civilian population. We have seen in Punjab, we have seen in Rajasthan, and we have seen here in Jammu and Kashmir as well. In fact, in Srinagar, we have air defense systems on high alert. You rightly pointed out several indigenous as well as foreign systems like S-400 are playing a crucial role. Pakistani army is not only sending drones but is also sending missiles and in fact rockets. We have been told that they have scrambled their jets. They had in fact scrambled their jets, and that's the reason why we are having these reports of one jet in fact downed by Indian Air Force. We have no confirmation on that, Zaka. Every second Zaka messages are coming, but then we have to cross check, confirm each and every message, and that's the reason why we have not been putting out any sort of information. A number of things are happening simultaneously. Indian Armed Forces are reacting, retaliating in this similar manner in which they have received the attack today. At around 8 p.m. this got started from Jammu area where the airport and the nearby infrastructure was attacked, and then several locations in Punjab and then in Rajasthan as well. One more thing, Zaka, ceasefire violation is happening constantly. In Uri, I have got several local contacts and they are telling me in villages like Chikotia, Salamabad, we have these artillery fires coming in double and triple intensity of what we saw yesterday and day before yesterday. So Pakistan is constantly violating ceasefire, and in fact artillery, heavy shells, in fact heavy caliber guns are being fired. A number of things are happening once again, Zaka. We are waiting for some sort of confirmation on the pilot that is reportedly apprehended in Rajasthan. But we'll wait for the armed forces to respond officially, or the Ministry of Defence, reliable sources from Ministry of Defence to confirm, and then we'll of course be telling our viewers about it.
All right. Thanks very much to all our reporters. We'll be touching base at the top of every hour or top of every half hour and try and get a sense of what's happening on the ground. But let's try and analyze. It's been 3-4 hours now. It started about 8:30. It's a little past midnight now. It's been going on for the better part of almost 4 hours. What is the strategy here from either side? Let's try and make sense of this. Group Captain retired MJ Vinod is a former fighter pilot. He's joining us. Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow with the Observer Research Foundation. Lieutenant General retired DP Pandey here in our studios. He's former General Officer Commanding of the 15 Corps. And Major Manik Jolly is also a defense expert. And Captain V.N. Jha, defense expert, is also joining us. General Pandey, let me start with you first. I mean, as somebody who commanded the 15 Corps, make sense of this for our viewers, because over the last 4 hours, suddenly, at about 8:30 was my previous show, we started seeing these drones, these flares coming up over Jammu, and then suddenly there were reports of flares happening across Jalandhar, in Pathankot, in Chandigarh, and it went all the way down to Jaisalmer and Jodhpur in Rajasthan. So all along the Western Front, as it were, multiple reports of these drone swarms. What is the big picture here? What is it that Pakistan was trying to do? And of course, India's response to it.
So, there are conflicts or engagements are of level of signaling. I'll just take the bigger picture is that what each side is doing to other is important, and starts from what happened on 22nd April, wherein this Pahalgam incident happened, and thereafter the ball was on our court actually to respond in a manner so that it is also reflective of a very responsible nation, in which those words are very clear that it was zero escalatory when we hit out at the targets at the headquarters of the terrorist headquarters, which we are fully aware. But coming on to the last 4 hours, I can just very quickly wrap up by saying that there is a bouquet of engagement which has been put across, starting from small arms direct firing weapons to missiles, which are again short range direct firing systems, to rockets, which are again very short range, and they have raised up the level of ante to the crossing of drones, missiles, hitting out targets which are slightly into depth. So while we went out to Bahawalpur, the similar attempts to showcase a quid pro quo scenario to hit out at Jaisalmer and deep into our own Punjab, Rajasthan, and of course Jammu and Kashmir area was attempted by Pakistan, which was deflected and destroyed by our very effective, very well integrated, well oiled system I'm quite proud because one has been practicing, rehearsing and seeing all these things. I used to always have a doubt in my mind that when the time comes, will they be able to respond? But I guess coming in of Akash and also coming in of S-400 has to change the entire paradigm into our advantage, which has ensured that we have been able to take care of our airspace, which was always a very big gap in our system. So that is one part. The second is that the levers continue to remain below that very critical threshold, which will become the point of no return. When the boots on the ground cross the borders. So we have to actually now see that where this calculation of the Pakistani, that radical chief is going to take over, and how far is willing to take his country on the downslide manner. Because right now, we as a nation are giving Pakistani as a nation a chance and option to opt out from the de-escalation scenario, right? It is very clear. Again, I started by saying that it is a signaling not only to Pakistani people but also to the world at large that we as a nation are a responsible nation. We have a leverage to control this thing, and there is a civilian government in place, and therefore we need to manage and articulate our responses
So one
very
interesting
carefully.
thing, you know, compared to previous, let's say, wars and, you know, the situations, the flare-ups, the conflicts that India and Pakistan have had, and General Iyer, I think, is there. General Iyer, you know, this is the first time we're seeing this drone warfare play out at such mass scale. We've seen this in other sort of theaters of conflict. We've seen it definitely in Ukraine. We've seen it to some extent in Gaza as well. This is the reality of modern day warfare, that you're going to have these swarms of drones first being put out before, you know, the aircraft and the other rockets and missiles are being put out. And then, of course, as General Pandey here said in our studios, the final step, of course, would be when your tanks and your armored divisions and your men start moving. Are we still at stage 1, maybe stage 1.5 in what looks like a long escalatory battle?
To answer your question, yes. Because the cost of a swarm of drone is a fraction of a cost of a, let's say, aircraft of the 4.5 generation capacities. Add to it the pilot, which is also, you know, involved with it. So when you look at a drone as a weapon, it is much more cost effective than an aircraft. That is point one. Point two, a swarm of drone is very difficult to pick up on radars because it gives you a very, very small signature. So if you saw the way Jammu erupted in the morning and you were seeing all those flashes running around, they were our guns firing. You know, we fire a tracer after every 5 or 6 rounds, we fire a tracer along with it to see where our fire is going. It is very difficult to locate and follow a swarm of drone and, you know, decimate them. So to that extent, the way our AD has performed today is, I can just say it's marvelous. It was something which was biting me throughout my service life as to whether, you know, we don't have very state-of-the-art ground AD equipment. Let me tell you this, all of our AD is, you know, we call it a little antiquated if you were to say, but they have performed absolutely marvelous, I can say, the way they have been able to, you know, intercept these swarms. That's the second point. The third point, I'd like to elaborate on something which Devendra just said. And, you know, let's go back to 5th of May. There was a statement made by the DG ISPR in one of his, you know, daily discourse. He said, if India wants to go adventurous, they may start the conflict, but we will, you know, end it at our terms, etc., etc. When you are not the strong person, when you are going to get, when you are aware that there's going to be a response, to make such, you know, big statements is something which is going to force you to, you know, think where you're going to off-ramp. To my mind, 7th morning, there was a very, very clear window for Pakistan to off-ramp. Why do I say that? We had achieved everything. We had put out a statement that India doesn't want to escalate any further. And but I was in your show when we were, you know, repeatedly emphasizing on this point. Somewhere Pakistan had managed to convey to his audience that they had downed, you know, 3 Rafales and 2 more aircrafts of ours. They had made statements in their parliament. By and large, if at that time sensible guy was there, and I again agree with General Pandey, because the person at the helm over there is a radical guy. He doesn't realize what implies, taking Pakistan to war.
Yeah.
That was a very clear window, and I think India was very sensible not to comment on this repeated claim of 5, Indian aircrafts being down. We kept quiet, gave him a exit window, and I felt that yesterday evening they will, use that and go out. Possibly we would have been in the end of this scenario right now with both sides, quite happy with what they have achieved, because let me tell you, these 9 hits which we have achieved is something we could never think of. Especially in my 39 years of service, I never could think of, hitting from Bahalpur right up to Kotli.
Yeah.
It is a huge swath that we have engaged and engaged precisely.
Okay,
So,
General, give me a moment. Tajinder is also joining us. He's joining us live from Srinagar. Tajinder, so what's the update across the state? And I specifically also want to know about Jammu, because you're from there. It started about 8:30 in the evening today. Are we now approaching a stage where things are beginning to get back to normal? For example, in Jalandhar, Chandigarh, etc., I think the lights are coming back on. But where you are, it seems like the blackout is still on. Very much so.
Yes, sir. Yes, Zaka. I'm in Baramulla right now, and this place is it is under a complete blackout right now, Zaka. I can hear the artillery shells that are being fired from the Pakistan side, though my location is at a safer distance from Uri, where the firing is going on. Pakistan has been violating the ceasefire, and what we have come to know that a civilian, a woman, has been killed in Uri sector because of the continuous ceasefire violation from the Pakistan side. As far as Jammu is concerned, as you mentioned, that in Jammu the electricity has been restored, the blackout is over, and it seems that the attack from the Pakistan side, which has been completely foiled by our defense forces, life is slowly limping back to normalcy in Jammu, though people have been advised to remain cautious, remain indoor, and ensure that no rumors are spread. All the projectiles that were fired from the Pakistan side on the vital military installations in Jammu region were destroyed by our air defense mechanism. So no damage in Jammu, but yes, heavy ceasefire violation is being reported from Rajouri, Poonch, Kathua, Samba, where the Indian Armed Forces, the Border Security Force also is giving a befitting response to Pakistan. As far as the situation on the line of control in Kashmir is concerned, right now heavy firing is going on. The Pakistan side is using artillery shells to target the civilian population in Uri. One woman has been killed, several have been injured, and the people in the line of fire are being evacuated right now. I just had a word with senior officials. They are saying that the LG administration is keeping a thorough eye on all the activities that are happening, and the officers have been advised, rather the police has been advised to provide immediate relief to people who are affected because of this ceasefire violation. Earlier during the day, the Director General of Jammu and Kashmir Police, Nalin Prabhat, was in Uri. If you remember, Zaka, in Uri in Kashmir is the most affected area because of the ceasefire violation from the Pakistan side. Several houses have been destroyed by the Pakistani shelling. So right now the situation, though in Jammu, has returned to normal, but on the line of control it continues to be tense, and the Indian Armed Forces are giving a befitting response to the Pakistani aggression. Yes, Zaka.
All right, Tejinder, thank you so much, and you take care. You're in Baramulla, where it's not just the threat of drones. There is, of course, the live firing of artillery shells that's happening. So thank you very much for joining us with that live update. Let's try and go back to our guest, if Sushant is still there. Sushant Sareen, again, make sense of the big picture for our viewers. Are we now locked in this escalatory chain where each side is going up one rung, and either it ends, each of those rungs ends either in a stalemate or in escalation dominance? How far up do both sides go?
You can go all the way to a full-fledged war. If nobody is ready to take an off-ramp. And frankly, as of now, let's see, for example, if the Saudis have come, they have equities with both India and Pakistan. Will they be able to exercise those equities? I think from the Indian side, it's very clear. We were never interested in escalating, but if the Pakistanis are going to escalate, then we will hit back. Now, what are the Pakistanis going to say? Now, we are saying that we are fighting a war against terrorists. We have only targeted terrorists. What have the Pakistanis done? They've targeted the Indian armed forces, the Indian military. They've targeted us. So we are going to hit back. Do the Pakistanis get an off ramp? And will they be forced to take one? And then what happens to their regime? And Zaka, I think this is a critical point. In Pakistan, it becomes a question of regime survival, not just of Asim Munir, but also of his Chaprasi, the so-called Prime Minister of Pakistan. The man was brought into office by Asim Munir. He depends on the crutches of Asim Munir. Anybody who replaces Asim Munir will probably give a kick to Shahbaz Sharif. So the heads of both those fellows are linked to each other, right? They're Siamese twins in a sense. They cannot be separated. And if you separate them, they both will die. So it's their survival. And for their survival, they're ready to put Pakistan's future at stake. Now, the question is, can the Saudis, for example, give... And please remember, Asim Munir, because he has served in Saudi Arabia, I believe as a defense attaché, understands Arabic, speaks it well, has some contacts in the Saudi system. He used to think that he is somebody who can do a lot of work with the Saudis because he knows many people out there. Question now is, can the Saudis exercise their influence on Asim Munir and tell him to back off? And they have a lot of leverages, not just the Pakistani diaspora, but they have leverages in terms of the amounts of money they give to the Pakistani.
Correct.
And if they threaten to turn off the tap, Pakistan is in deep trouble. Will the Saudis use those leverages? Again, with India, for example, they will ask us to de-escalate, but I think we are very clear that if the Pakistanis back off, we'll also de-escalate. Otherwise, no, there is no way out. Please also remember, MBS, the gentleman who's come now to both India and Pakistan, does represent MBS. He doesn't represent anybody else.
Of course.
In Saudi Arabia, MBS is the boss, right? And he's a guy who is in many ways a visionary, who's trying to forge a new future for Saudi Arabia, who's not really interested in these kind of wars. And there are some major developmental and other projects that he is envisaging with India. So does he want this whole region to start blowing up? I'm not so sure. Then there is the Americans. But the Americans seem to have taken a hands-off approach, right? They have enormous influence if they want to wield it. For example, just tomorrow, the Pakistani IMF package is coming up for renewal. The Americans can very easily hold that out and say that, look, unless you are backing down, no monies are coming to you, because much of that money you use for building up your military and creating trouble in the region. So there are people who have leverages, but are they going to bring those leverages? And if they don't, then we are in this escalation spiral, and I don't see what the incentive for either side is to back off.
All right.
At this.
Major General Indrabalan, so again, I want to come back as somebody who's an expert on drone technology, and now we are seeing, at least in the India-Pakistan context, the first live televised drone swarming that's happening. Like I said, we've seen this in other theaters of conflict, most recently and most vividly in Ukraine. But is this now yet another rung that's being added to warfare, added to this whole business of the escalatory ladder, as it were, that the first step is now going to be drones? You're either doing it to test enemy air defenses, or you're doing it to try and send out a signal, or of course, as one of our earlier speakers said, it's far cheaper to send out a drone than to send out a manned fighter jet.
Yeah, Zaka, firstly, thank you very much